What's up, everybody? Welcome to Flagrant, and today we have one of my favorites, man. We got Adam Rowe back in the building. We got it. And listen, we heard you in town. We want you to come on the pod naturally, but there are some things that we need to get to the bottom to that are happening in Great Britain right now. Okay. It seems like there's two problems that could solve one another. There's like a couple British girls that are trying to like the most people in a day, and then there's like gang raping.
You see where he's going with it?
And I just
if you'd have paused him before he brought either of those up, I knew we're going Bonnie Blue, Lily Phillips, and grooming gangs.
Grooming gangs. So what I'm saying is, it's like there's a problem and then there's a solution, but it just seems like we can't connect them. And this is where you need that American ingenuity. Yeah. I'm here to let Bonnie Blue and what's the other one's name?
Lily Phillips.
Lily Phillips know that there's a what?
Sorry, I thought you were talking about the gang for a second. I was like, we don't know their name. That's scary.
Anyway, but the grooming gangs, right? I feel like we could, they don't have to do it anymore. They could just get online.
I think you're forgetting what we spoke about last time.
First, they need to stop making it sound so cool.
What is that?
Grooming gangs is just, it has a little ring to it. Like, make it sound worse than that.
It makes them sound like fucking hairdressers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Make it sound way worse.
Yeah. What is the grooming part? I don't understand.
So, like, I mean, it's going to make me sound like I'm an expert on it, but like, grooming someone, like, it's when, like, a teacher is like wanting to fuck one of their students. Right. They like groom them like, hey, it wouldn't be too bad if we fucked.
I've heard of that.
And if, like, that's what these gangs are accused of doing.
So they would groom girls.
Yes.
And then wait until they're legal and then have sex.
I've got to be honest with you. I think so. What you're talking about is
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I know.
I just saw one headline.
So where you're getting these headlines from is like the Daily Mail and shit. So like this is the
you have gang and gangbangs in the same place, and then for whatever reason we can't put those together.
It's just it's rhetoric pushed by like right wing media who are like we want to sort of focus on immigration. So like there's a really really good interview from years ago where there's a political commentator from the UK called Akala. And he's
I know the guy who raps too.
Yeah. And he's talking on like there's like a panel, like it's like a panel in front of an audience talking about like racism and all that sort of stuff. And he goes, the interesting thing is when like a Pakistani guy, someone or a grooming gang who are from Pakistan originally, their racial identity and the fact that they're an immigrant is put forward as like the primary reason for them committing the atrocity. Yeah. Whereas like when Jimmy Savile, who's like a really famous who's a white guy from Stoke. Yeah. When he does it, it's not like it's because he's from Stoke. Whereas like the grooming gangs is like, well, they're from Pakistan. Of course they're doing it.
But we assume it's because he's British. That's why he does. Right? Like, isn't that what the rest of the world does? They're like, yeah, this is what they do. They
also, the Pakistani guys
giving us is like that where they go to that. You've got the top two of all time. You've got R. Kelly and Michael Jackson.
And Epstein. No. You guys fell off, dude. You had a great run. Yeah. And then
that's what America is. America does everything we do, and you just take it to one more level. So like, you always see what we're doing, and then it's like,
So you heard what Adam Rowe said. Step it up, ladies. 2,000 guys in a day.
And that's what the thing with this. You're saying, like, why can't we just marry these two? You're forgetting that in the UK, our racism is directed towards Pakistani guys and people from South Asia rather than anyone else.
Then who?
Mexicans and black people. That's your one, isn't it?
Is that? I don't know.
I've seen the clips.
I've seen the clips. Hey, we were punching Asians for a little bit. We tried to diversify.
But you stopped that for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we did that because they would fight back.
It was scary.
Okay, so this is, again, a lot of the news that we get from Great Britain is like what Elon tweets.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's a problem.
Yeah, so we read the headline and we're like, grooming gangs? What the fuck is going on over here? I will say I looked into the 1,000 people they fucked a little bit more, and they're doing it. They're actually having sex with these guys.
Oh, they're 100% doing it.
Yeah. What is the reaction in like proper, polite British circles about this?
I mean, I think you have like a bastardized idea of what like the politeness of Britain's like. Like if you go on like British...
I'm not talking about Liverpool.
But like the Facebook posts about it, like she's a whore, she's a fucking whore. Like let's call a spade, she's a whore. Like
but when's the next one?
Because there's still 1,000 guys showing up to these things. So
did you see
not everybody has a problem.
You see the Jamaican mom yank her son off the line? That was fun.
Yes.
That was like, he's like, I'm next, mom.
There was a guy who, so he was interviewed on like Good Morning Britain, which is like it's a fucking morning show in the UK. And
one of the guys that did it.
One of the guys who says he went, queued up. He went, joined the line, realised he was like, I'm going to be here for a few hours, went and ate dinner. So he was like, I've got time for a burger. Went and got his burger, came back to the line, said he got near the front and then was like, I can't do it.
On a full stomach, it's hard. It's tough.
And they interviewed him at like 9 o'clock in the morning, being like, so tell us about your experience. He was like, I could just smell like cum and it just...
Oh my God.
It's like, I couldn't go through it.
There's some great porn stories coming out of Britain. The girl that had sex with the inmate.
Oh,
Was that?
Yeah.
Was that real? What was the...
I can show you the video. Have you not seen it?
I saw the video, but I mean, like, was it...
He's quick with it. He's online, bro.
I would find, like, you could set a stopwatch for 60 seconds.
No, I saw the video and she was phenomenal, but she was so good that I thought it was kind of set up. She was like a pro. But it turns out she was actually a... what are they called? Corrections officer.
Yeah. No, she's a prison officer. She's like a scribe.
We call that a CO, corrections officer.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like
Rick Ross.
What?
The rapper used to be. That's
did he?
Yeah. I don't think he did the porn. But I think he did.
Stay away.
It was good form, bro. The last thing you want is a girl doing this and going, okay. So that story was crazy, right?
Crazy, especially because she like.
Is it weird what we get over here from you guys? Like,
well, you get like such a tiny.
I know.
I talk about this in like stand-up context. It is so much harder for me to come out here than for you to come to the UK because we get all of your news, all of your media, every movie that's even remotely good from the States we get. Every TV show.
Yeah, you're hyper aware of cultural events here. Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago I did Gotham. And you were on the bill.
Yeah.
And I come off and there was one joke that had just got fuck all, and it was a joke I relied on. You know what I mean? And you were like, they just didn't get it. And it was a bit about like in the UK, homeless people drink cider. So the routine was like, I gave this guy some money, and like a girl who had like a bit of a stick up her ass was like, you're supposed to buy them food. And the whole bit is like, oh, I think he wants cider.
Yeah.
And the audience just looked at me like I was speaking fucking parcel tongue. They were like, what the fuck? And then you were like, that's like a middle class, like gay summer drink. Like homeless people and not drinking. And you went, try it tomorrow with like whiskey or liquor. And I tried it and poof, proper popped it. Like all it took was that. But those, like, we think, at least I think we're very culturally similar countries.
So you think you can just do your
small things.
I've been there. I've been there, Adam.
Oh, this is crazy. This is
we
amazing.
did the show in Manchester, okay?
I thought it was in Vancouver.
No, well, that's a different one. I don't even know if you knew about this because I barely even registered it until later.
This is really funny.
We do the show in Manchester, right? Adam joins us, okay? The lineup is great. It's Derek, it's Adam, it's me, and then it's you, okay? And so Derek goes up, does a great job, and then... Oh, brother, what is even happening? Okay, so then Derek goes up, he does a great job.
Poor Mark.
I'm getting interrupted by myself. What the fuck is even happening? Shitting on my own story. And then Adam goes up, and I'm like kind of listening because like I know Derek's set, you know what I mean? And so I'm listening to Adam's set, and I don't hear a word that he's saying. I'm hearing the whole thing. I don't understand anything. His accent is sort of thick now. In Liverpool or in Manchester, it was like you couldn't understand a word.
But also, so before, because I know where the story's going, let me just contextualize this. So that show was the day after you did our podcast. Right? And you come to our podcast and you're in the studio with the whole crew is. And then you go to me, do you want to come to the show tomorrow? I was like, yeah, we'll come down. Me, Jack, who's the photographer, also like one of my best mates, Steve, who's like our podcast like admin guy, and then Carl, who's like my best mate, lead producer. So the four of us, like, we'll come down the show.
Yeah.
But that's all I knew. And then, like, at the time, I'm sort of like half going through a breakup. Like, it had been done, but I hadn't spoke to me dad for a while. Like, not that I hadn't spoke to him, but like I hadn't seen him. So the next day, I text me dad. I was like, "You want to go out for lunch? Should we go out for lunch tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's go." And he's like, "What are you up to tonight?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to Manchester to watch Schulz. He's in town and like going to go and see the show." And my dad was like, "We haven't had a pint for ages. Can we go and have a pint?" So I went and had 10 pints of Guinness with my dad. And then on the way to Manchester, you text me and say, "How long are you doing? Like, how long do you want to do tonight?"
Oh, I thought you knew that I was inviting you to to do a spot.
But like you're very casual with stuff like this.
Yeah,
in your
true.
head, you're like, "Oh, I've got a friend who lives down the road. Of course he's going to do a set."
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, "I'm just going to watch. You've got 2 openers with you already. That's probably enough for you."
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to. I'm having a night in the theatre watching a friend of mine. So I'm in the car and Carl's driving us, and I'm like, I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Well, I'm not doing the show."
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, "I'll do it." And I turn up to Manchester, and Tanya goes, "Can I get you anything?" And I was like, "I need 4 bottles of water now." And then I walk in the dressing room, and you're all fucking meditating.
Oh, that's right. We're asleep.
Oh, we were.
So I'm like, "Oh God!" So I spent
Meditating. Jet lag is fucking dude, that's so funny. Yeah, we turned all the lights out, we put like the thing down, and then we all try to take a nap. And then Adam comes in, 10 Guinness teeth, like, what the fuck is that?
So I'm like, right, I really need to sort my head out here. But then, like, whenever I'm talking to you guys, or if I'm on stage in the States, my accent softens quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is softened.
This is so
He's doing an
softened.
American
He's
accent.
articulating. Yeah, for sure.
I honestly think I sound like Jay-Z right now. That's what I'm trying to do.
I thought I'd be co-teaching this shit.
This is how you talk to the police.
But in Liverpool and Manchester especially, like for the crowd, I know I can just
lay in.
I can just let go. So like what would normally take me, 20 minutes to do out here, I could probably do in 10 in Manchester. So I go on and I'm doing my set, and I don't know whether you want to tell the rest of the story, but I have a joke in my set at the time about a girl, I'm breaking up with her and I'm happy to see her go, so she's trying to upset me. And she said, while we were together, I've faked like half of my orgasms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a compliment. Like, like half fucking, that's a whole one every 2 balls. Like, it's fucking insane. But Mark's got a similar bit about like
proving that I'm good at sex, like why I think I'm good at sex.
And he went on straight after me because he couldn't understand the word I was saying. He does that joke and the whole room's like, that last guy just did that.
He fucking set me up. The beginning of the set, I'm like, this is fun. This is a good show.
In case any of you guys only speak English, I'll do this version of the joke.
And I get to the middle of it, and that joke just gets nothing. And I was like, that's weird. And then I'm thinking in my head, like, did I forget the setup? Did I fuck up the joke?
Dude,
and then I'm doing
funny.
the rest of the set thinking, like, did I? No, I don't know any of these jokes.
It's just 3,000 people going, why has he just done that?
So wait, did you tell him afterwards or something?
I did briefly. I was like, Mark, you know that bit that like confused you in the middle? Like I'd done the same sort of premise like before you went on, and he'd just come off stage and was a bit frazzled, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no worries." And then before, when we got here, like when we were waiting around, like he's like, "Oh yeah, this," and I was like, "You didn't really click onto this."
I had go.
Yeah, that's it. Like
I had no clue.
I didn't register because I came off stage and he goes, "Oh yeah, we have a similar bit," and I go, "That's awesome, man." I didn't get, like, sometimes comics have similar bits, whatever. And I didn't realize that's what you were saying until 5 minutes ago. And I was like,
you didn't? Don't we have 2 shows?
Yeah.
I only did the late show though. I was drinking Guinness while you did the first show.
And the first show was amazing, and then the second show, that one joke just bombed. And I was like, what the fuck?
Bro,
Mark was Carl's Mancy off stage.
Mark was in, or we were all in Vancouver. Not the last time, the time before.
This is legendary, dude.
And Mark had a great bit about Uber, right? I won't tell the bit, but and he would start the joke by saying like we were taking an Uber over here, right?
Yeah.
just to like make it feel really present and get everybody involved, and it's so relatable. And Mark is telling the joke without realizing that there is no Uber in Vancouver. Because
that not only
they're looking at him like, you did not take a fucking Uber here.
that would kill me, you know, because it doesn't just ruin that bit. The whole audience then goes, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah. He's not even married, okay? He doesn't even have a huge dick, okay? That joke wasn't real.
Like, I think I'd have got to the end of that and been like, oh, they don't have Uber here. Yeah. There's a handful of times, because I come out here now like a couple of times.
You did actually realize on stage.
This is how dumb I am. I didn't even realize it. I had to get halfway through the bit that I'm bombing through, and someone goes, we don't have Uber.
They told you? They told them.
Because I was like, maybe I'll muscle through it and kind of get them back or something.
We Uber here from Seattle. That's a fucking long drive. Oh, it's so bad.
Also, guys, show dates. First of all, Brea, we already sold out all 4 shows. I'm going to try to get everybody who wants to see the show tickets though, so we're adding one February 20th, Thursday. We're gonna add that show. Also February 27th, 28th, and March 1st, I'm gonna be at Zany's in Nashville. March 14th and 15th, I'm gonna be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. March 21st and 22nd, Omaha, 28th and 29th, Columbus, Ohio. And then the April shows are in Tampa. The ones that I could not make because of the flu are moved to April 11th and 12th. I think tickets are already almost sold out, so hurry up and buy those. If you bought tickets in January, you're good for now, but we're gonna add as many shows as we can. Love you guys. akashsingh.com for those dates, and we're gonna add more soon. Thank you. Peace.
I'll Google stuff now before even before a club set over here. Like if I've got like something I'm going to try out, but like I'm checking this. I'm checking homeless people drink cider. Nope. Okay.
I do that when I'm in another country. It's never like the concept of the joke. I'm like, do you know what this word means?
Yeah.
You know,
you've texted me a couple of times when you're in the UK. Yeah. I remember when you texted me about London, you were like, what are these people? Like, I can't get me finger on.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one where you are is a Londoner.
That's the thing. Yeah, it was like everywhere else is so tribal. Yeah. Like where you guys are from, 30 minutes down the road, they're completely different groups of people. Yeah. Then I'm in London, I'm like, what do they identify as? Like, what?
They've all moved there.
Yeah.
So like, because London's, like, I suppose in a very similar way to New York, London has become so expensive and gentrified that everyone who used to live here now lives there, and everyone who used to live there now lives there. So it just because everyone gets pushed out by like 2 miles every time. The things get more and more. And there's not much rent control. So you, like, whereas in like, you know, in New York, you'll get like a 97-year-old Jewish woman on the Upper West Side who's surrounded by like millionaires, and she's just owned the place for 100 years. Yeah. That doesn't happen in London. People do just get pushed out.
Oh, really?
So in the middle of London, there's just nothing but people who've moved there. Pretty much.
Oh, interesting. But sometimes those rules, I remember we went to Abu Dhabi and they were like, hey, just be careful about some of the things you say. Yeah. Like they gave us like a little list. They were like, don't talk about Islam. Don't speak about the royal family. And he goes, I'm not listening to that shit. He just didn't listen to any of everybody.
I actually don't like it when they tell me.
Makes you want to do it.
Also, like I could plead ignorance if I don't really know.
Yeah.
But if like I get sat down with the guys in the outfits and everything, and they tell me all the rules,
the outfits.
Now I'm like, fuck! Like they just told me this shit dressed up, and like, I feel like there would be something bad there. But then again, if you get arrested for that.
So there's a comedy club that runs, it's called The Laughter Factory. It's in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, because they're the same country, aren't they? UAE. Yep. And they had a guy get arrested at one of their club shows about, it must be like 10, 15 years ago.
Local guy or a foreign dude?
No, from the UK. So they pretty much fly out UK guys, and occasionally they'll get like a road comic from America out there. Yeah. And they're always like, just don't mention the royal family. Yeah. And they were doing like a 2-night run at one hotel. And on the second night, after the guy had done stuff on the first night, they sent people to the back to like, and as soon as he went to bring it up again, because in his head, he's like, oh, I got away with it last night. And he goes to do it again, and they were like, come with us. And he was in police custody for like 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. What did he say? Well,
I want to know.
I think he literally was like, I was told I can't talk about these guys. Who the fuck do they think they are? I think he took that attitude, and they were like, well, this is who the fuck we think we are. Go and sit over there for 3 days.
See, that's real royalty. Would you respect that royalty? I know you don't respect the English royalty. Okay, but
I mean, the only reason I'll respect it while I'm out there
is weapons.
It is that I don't want to go to jail. You know, I'll respect it because I have to.
Yeah.
But I don't respect anybody who is born naturally better than everyone else. It's fucking insane.
What do you think of that Meghan Markle? Like, what do people think of her out there?
It's a real like political issue. So the left are like, she's amazing, and the right are like, she's a fucking.
But for what? Why is she amazing? What'd she do? Took that little ginge off your hands?
So, because the left, generally speaking, hate the royal family. And the working class people, a lot of them are just like, the fucking royal family, like, what the fuck? Why do we have to fucking... Because she's sort of gone in as a normal person, broke it up, caused a bit of a problem. And then has sort of gone, I'm not adhering to your fucking rules. I'll take your fucking grandson and we're going back to America.
Yeah,
because
kind of
she's
fire.
like...
That is kind of fire when you put it that way.
I'll take your grandson. Watch him come with me. That's crazy.
So people are like, yeah, fucking good for her.
I'll take your grandson. Yo, shout out Meghan Markle, bro. Oh, man, I never saw it like that. Yeah, that's fire. Yeah. We hate her here for some reason. I think it's just the idea, like, Americans really... I think it's the same feeling. It's like we really resent people who haven't seemingly earned their success.
Yeah.
You know, like the idea of like nepotism or heirs or the royal family.
Yeah, but then you should hate the royal family and you should like her.
We don't respect the royal family here.
Yeah.
We don't give a fuck.
We don't.
Now,
when the Queen died, they cancelled comedy clubs across the UK.
Oh, no.
And like friends of mine are like out of work. I wasn't even working that weekend, but I just put like 3 shows on in Liverpool and was like, if you've lost gigs this weekend, we'll split the door between everyone. I was like, fuck that. That's just not happening.
They cancelled the comedy show.
Because they're like this. Have you seen the video of, you know the musical Wicked?
Yeah.
Do you know how it opens? Do you know the first song in Wicked?
No.
So the first the first line is she's dead, and it's like good news. So the night that the Queen died, the guy who owns the theatre had to go on stage. There's a video of this of him doing this. He goes on stage before the show and goes, "Hey, we're really respectful about the Queen and stuff, but we've still got to do the full show. So just so you all know, if this is the first time you've seen Wicked, this isn't like a new bit."
As many of you are no doubt aware, Her Majesty the Queen sadly passed away earlier this afternoon, and we send deepest condolences to her family. At the respect of Buckingham Palace, all shows are continuing to perform this evening. Therefore, tonight's show will be performed as usual and as written.
Good news. She's dead. That's the opening line.
The Queen is dead?
The Wicked Witch of the West.
Wicked Witch of the Death.
But good news, she's dead. That's how it fucking opened.
That's great.
And the fact that they had to preface it is so funny.
Some guy like never been on stage before in his life. They're like, you're gonna have to go. And
it almost makes it worse because I bet you half the people are like, yeah, we're just seeing Wicked. We're not thinking about it. You know what I mean? And then the fact he's like, I know this sounds like we're happy the Queen's dead.
It only takes one person to complain though, doesn't it? And then it's a news story. So it's better they do it that way.
Oh, that's unreal. I didn't realize you were such a theater fan.
Yeah, like
you love musicals.
I've seen quite a lot. Yeah, a few years. I'd never watched it until about maybe like 6 years ago, and then I heard Hamilton. All I knew about Hamilton was it was like a hip hop musical, and I was like, I really want to go and see that. And an ex-girlfriend got me tickets to go and see it, and I remember being at the end of the first song like, this is incredible. I couldn't believe it, and then I like watching them.
You want to know how incredible Hamilton is?
Yeah.
Once we went to like a private dance club in Hawaii. Strip club. But there's like a little private room where the strippers come in.
He's trying to be nice.
And they gave you an aux cord and you get to control the music. And I go, Mark, you know what you got to do. He's like, I got it. I see Mark go up to the aux, plug it in, and the next thing I hear is dun 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 dun. How does a bastard, son of a whore and a Scotchman, in the middle? Within, I would say like 5 minutes, we were just singing and dancing, and the strippers were all just sitting down, like so confused.
They tipped well, though. They tipped us really well.
They did. They were good girls. They were trying to like give us drugs. They were just like, I think if we settle them down, they'll let us get naked.
I've been banging on about it for years that I really liked it, and the lads we do our podcast with have been like, I can't think of anything fucking worse. And I was like, you just got to see it. Like it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And then there was a touring version of it that came to Manchester, and I was like, look, we're going podcast night out, few beers, and we're going to see Hamilton. And the cast was so bad. And so I was sat next to Finn, who's one of our producers, and he loves it as well. And like Carl and Dan were sat behind us, and they'd been like fucking dragged to see this thing, you know what I mean? And we were about halfway through, and I just looked at Finn, and Finn was already looking at me, and Finn was like, "This is a lot gayer than I remember it being." I was like, yeah, it really is. Like, it's not. And we got to the interval and went up, and I tried to be like, so what do you think? And Carl and Dan were like, oh, you fucking insane. It was so bad. If that was the first time I'd ever seen it, I wouldn't like it.
Is it weird to have that showing in England?
No.
Like the historical count of the Revolutionary War.
So, like, this is...
There's no way you learn it how we learn it.
No, we don't learn it at all.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Like, we learn about World War II and that we won and you guys kind of helped. And that's pretty much all the history from like years.
So they lie to you in school?
Yeah. Or they lie to you?
No way. Well, somebody had to drop those nukes on the... Right? Somebody had to do it.
Yeah, you guys didn't have
Somebody had to stop that war that was already over and test some military weapons.
We don't learn anything about it. So
we didn't help out at all in the way you learned?
In World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Americans sort of helped at the end. But this whole, like, we would be speaking German if it wasn't for America, it's just like, that's not really true.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like we were going to sort of, you know, like it would have been, we might have won anyway. Wow. Yeah, we won it.
Yeah.
That's Britain is like, no, we beat the Nazis. Winston Churchill defeated the Nazis.
Yeah.
He also murdered 1 million Indians, but shh, don't look at that. Like, we beat the Nazis.
Did you take out a mill?
It might have been, I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot.
It was a lot.
They don't love Churchill.
They don't love him at all over there.
So you just learn history through musicals.
Yeah.
He thinks Alexander Hamilton is black. I think to this day. He's like, yeah.
Do you know what's really funny about that is I know he isn't, but in my head he is. Like I have to do you know like when
you look at the $10 bill, you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Like I have to genuinely have to correct that in my own head. I'm like, yeah, Aaron Burr is not a 4'9" black guy.
You know what's crazy? Hamilton in America was like in our generation was not a very popular figure.
Totally.
Like they were going to replace him, I think, on the bill.
I think that was the plan.
And Aaron Burr, the extent of Burr was a got milk commercial. Do you remember that commercial? He's eating a cookie and he doesn't have any milk and he like calls in some hotline to like win something. And he goes, and they go, who was the person that had a duel with Hamilton and then shot him and then killed Alexander Hamilton? And the guy goes, he can't get it out because he doesn't have milk. Do you guys not remember this commercial?
I vaguely remember now that you're saying it.
I remember this my entire childhood going, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. And then I remember seeing Hamilton. I was like, oh, the milk guy.
What a legacy. Do you know what's really interesting about like the American Civil War thing is,
real quick, sorry. So when you're watching a play of like the American Revolution in England, is there like a complete disconnect to an event that happened in history? Like I don't think Americans are there yet to like have a play. Like if there was a Vietnamese play about how they won the war, I don't think it'd be like celebrated in America.
I just think genuinely, even though we know it's not, it sort of like feels like fiction. Not that we're saying it's like lies, it just feels like,
I love it.
Do you know what I mean? It feels like Wicked. It's Wicked.
Things are so silly.
It's just not like and
it doesn't look like you're watching a loss.
No, and it's not like, it doesn't feel like that. And like, we're so small compared to you guys. Like, it doesn't make any sense that we would run this place, like, to me. Like if I actually,
that's fascinating.
I've never really thought about it, but I'm thinking about it right now. And yet the idea
we were
of like,
a colony of you.
Yeah, like the idea that like, I don't even want the king to run Liverpool. Like, why would he have control of Baltimore? Like
the king is the best character in it.
Oh, it's so funny.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's so funny. But like you guys, I guess because you're taught of it as like this victory and it's part of like the American thing is like, oh, we got our independence and
also rebellion is like part of the identity. So any story that has rebellion, we get all excited about. Like,
totally. And it's the only time it's ever been like sort of contextualized for me like that is, and it was to do with this show. So I went to Nashville in the summer. At the end of my tour, Alfie, who opens for me, and he's also a brilliant comic, and Jack, who was my tour manager, we went to Nashville for a week to just let rip, drink, music, whatever. And it was during CMA Fest, like the Country Music Association Festival. So they have like stadium shows. And I was like, well, on the Friday, we'll go to that. And we'll go and see that. And we're in the stadium. And I go to the bar and get some drinks. And as I get to the top of the stairs, some like real southern guy, like dressed like I'm wearing the bleachers, you know. So, and he's got like, you know, a flannel shirt on, trucker cap. And he's like, hey man, can I get a quick photo with you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I seen you a while ago on Flagrant. I seen some of your stuff. I like it, man. I like it. Can we get a photo? And we take a photo. And I then go and carry on to go. And he goes, hey, Adam, don't forget the Civil War. Don't forget the Revolutionary War. And I was like, what? And he goes, we won, man. And I was like, and I get to the bar to Alfie and Jack. I was like, some guy just asked me for a photo and then started yelling about some war.
Yo, I love that. I love that. I love you, but I'm so kicked your ass.
That's the most American.
But he'd see me on here, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And shout out to him. I'm wondering, like, this is like, I guess, a peculiar question, but it's the observation I had when I was in Britain. Is there's all these tiny little towns that have kind of evolved independently from this idea of England, right?
Yeah.
And then the empire kind of swallows them all up.
Yeah.
But they have their own identities.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. Whereas like the states in America are added after the 13 as America.
Yeah.
Like if you choose, you don't have an identity outside of us.
Yeah.
Maybe Texas because they almost did their own thing, but it's rare. So I wonder if that changes things where like you don't really personalize like what the greater England did because there were people there 1,000 years ago just doing their thing anyway.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know,
like are there loyalists in Liverpool for the crown?
Yeah, but it's a very small minority,
right?
And like,
what do you think of them?
Of the loyalists to the crown?
Yeah.
I don't speak to them.
Yeah,
they're not in my life. I just hear they exist. You know, And this obviously when I'm doing like podcasts and stuff in America like this, like people do want to talk about the British thing. I'm probably a really bad person to talk to about it because of the way Liverpool sees the rest. And I'm not as like hardline as some Scousers are with this.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of like people from Liverpool who when the England football team plays, they actively want them to win. Like if England are playing Spain, there's Scousers who will buy a Spain jersey and go to the pub in the Spain jersey and be like, come on Spain, because they hate it that much. With me, I kind of want England to win, and the second they lose, I'm like, who gives a shit? Whereas like Liverpool can lose a game and it'll take me a month to get over it.
Got it.
Like there's such a, this is quite like, I don't really like the uber English attitude.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the pride that like people on the centre right to the right of like British politics have is rooted in racism and colonialism.
Really?
It just is. It's like, we conquered the world. It's like, that shouldn't be your only reason to be proud of the country, because that's not actually a fucking good thing, you know?
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff to not like.
It's debatable. You know? I mean, like, you go to some places that England never got to, and you're like, you could have used a little, you could have used a little bit. Right?
I just got back from India, and I'm telling you, we have left that place in a mess.
Yeah, but you didn't go before. It was crazy before, honestly.
They got a train now. It's
I love that thing.
The train is good, by the way. That was a real good train, by the way.
You're so British. See, the colonial comes out. You know, it's the best train.
But when you see him on top of the train riding it, aren't you like, that was worth the jewel? Right? Like, they're enjoying that thing. So, imagine they got a roller coaster. Oh. If you dropped a roller coaster in Mumbai, dude, they would forget.
Sort it out.
1 6
We're not even hungry anymore. We're having too much fun, team. This is insane.
You don't have to worry about them throwing up either. It's perfect.
I just don't identify. Like, it's funny. So a couple, like when...
But that's good perspective to have. Like, I think a lot of Americans don't know that about England. I think that we assume that every country is kind of like us, incredibly proud of themselves, and that's it. That's the identity. Yeah, we're divided in America, but for the most part, Americans are like, it's America, and then fuck the rest of y'all.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, you go to Spain, and there are parts of Spain that are like, we're not Spanish.
Yeah, like Barcelona and that.
Catalonia, the Basque country.
Yeah,
I mean,
You just had riots, right, in Liverpool, like a couple months ago?
A few months ago. That was the first time that like Liverpool sort of
had a grooming party.
We can talk about this story if you want, but it's fucking bleak. Like,
what do you mean?
Oh, really?
So there's a guy called Axel.
Oh, we won't joke around about it at all.
Huh?
We're not going to joke around about it at all.
This is gonna go poorly.
It's so bleak. And
Really?
It's so fresh.
Oh, fuck.
Like, a guy went into a 7-year-old's like dance class and stabbed 3 7-year-old girls to death.
Oh, I didn't know that's what it was about. My bad.
Great job, Mark.
So the riots, and the guy's called Axel Rudakabana, and he's the son of immigrants. And although his family are Christian, there's a widespread belief that his motivations are rooted in Islam. Even though that's not like being actually released as information, everyone's just gone, fucking look at the guy. Yeah. And you know, he stabbed one of these girls 122 times.
Holy shit.
Like it is one of the worst.
So what happens to somebody like that? I mean, you kill him, right?
There's no death penalty.
Well, what do you do with people like that?
He's been put in prison for a minimum of 52 years, which means technically in 52 years, he could be released.
But somebody in prison will kill him, right?
I got sent a voice note today on WhatsApp. So like when stuff happens in the UK, like you'll get like forwarded many times as like a thing on WhatsApp, and it's a voice note saying he's already being absolutely battered in prison. But people won't kill him; they'll just make his time in there impossible.
Oh, really?
And like the COs, the correction officers will be like,
they look the other way.
They'll go. They won't just look the other way. They will go and get the 2 most dangerous guys in the prison and be like, you know, in cell 7, do you know what he's in for?
Yeah.
Well, the door's open.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah.
And so the riots were about that, and then people were
So
fucking
the riots were anti-immigration riots, being like, look what happens when we have borders open. Is this guy's parents get in, they have him here, and then he goes and kills. But again, it's because, look, what this guy's done is fucking horrific, and it's very hard to have this conversation, especially because this happened in Stockport, which is 8 miles from where I live. Like it's up the road, maybe 20 a maximum. It's up, like Stockport is where on a sunny day in the summer, that's where me and my family would go. There's like a theme park there with roller coasters, no Indians on them. And we'd go there for the day.
Yet. Not after this.
And it's absolutely harrowing, awful. It's one of the worst stories of my lifetime that I can remember. And because people got real angry and they were given a reason.
Right.
He did it because of this. So then the protests and riots were fucking huge. But then there's arseholes turning up to these fucking protests and riots with like 6-packs of Stella. And they're being like, hey, we're at the riots. And it's like, you don't give a shit. You want a reason to go and smash a town up and get drunk with your mates. You're a thug. Some people genuinely care about the fucking safety of children. And, you know, they're there for the right reasons. But a good chunk of these fucking riots were people who just seen an opportunity to go and get hammered on a Tuesday night and smash up a place with no retribution.
That's the tricky thing, is that like a certain amount of people are going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that is going to be consistent across whatever culture.
Yeah.
And when you have people that are entering your country, you know, a certain percentage of them are going to be crazy. And the idea, I imagine, with an open border is that there's no way to discern who is or isn't. Now, there's no way to tell if somebody's kid is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I get the anger that somebody has in a situation where like we can at least control this if we just stop people from coming in.
Yeah.
And but you're not going to control crazy. They're going to be fucking Jimmy Saviles.
Totally.
Right? There's going to be monsters no matter what.
That like, I think the job, obviously this is a more serious conversation, but I think the job of a comedian often is to stand right in the fucking middle of the spectrum of conversation and talk and laugh at how both sides of any conversation are discussing it. Because on the right, there's always going to be hypocrisy. On the left, there's always going to be hypocrisy. And I'm talking about any spectrum there. And until both sides are, and we're so far from this at the minute because everything is genuinely really divided, like conversationally, until both sides find a way to be able to go, do you know what? You've got a good point there. But that's not going to happen. We're so far from that.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. I'm very excited to have this sponsor on the pod. I briefly mentioned them in the Vivek episode. Vivek was talking about the importance of compound interest without being too like nerdy and boring. I think it's really cool what this company Acorns has done. What they're trying to do is get you to actually invest, not gamble. What a lot of us do with the stock market right now, not me because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, is gamble. All right, you try to pick a stock, you try to see where it goes. You're not Nancy Pelosi. You're not any of these other politicians. You don't know what's going to happen in the market, and you're trying to time it. And you know who else is trying to time it? Billion and trillion dollar hedge funds and money managers. Like you're not going to beat them. But what you can do is you can invest with Acorns. And by invest, I mean put money in and let compound interest work for you. You put it in and it's the long term. It's over 10 years. It's over 20 years. Okay. Vivek was talking about it very eloquently. But the idea is you're going to invest that money and you're going to let the American economy work for you over a long period of time. How are you going to set your kids up for college? How are you going to set yourself up for retirement? The strategy here is long term. Okay. If you're looking for quick money, that's not Acorns. Don't use Acorns. But if you're looking to set yourself up and you're looking to provide for yourself in the future and let the American economy work with you, and by the American economy, I mean they're investing this money over tons and tons and tons and tons of stocks, okay? And over the long term, it looks so far so good. Hopefully Donnie T takes it to the moon. Hopefully he doesn't take it down in any way. But over the long term, you see that growth. And if you want to be invested in that growth, which you should, because that's what these rich people are doing, they're getting all this money because they're leaving their money and getting that compound interest year over year.
That's the important thing. You don't need to be rich to start. You should start with whatever money you have. Let compound interest do its work.
Compound interest, essentially, if you're looking at like let's say it's a 5% or a 10% return a year, you do that over 20 years, you're actually going to put some real money in your kids' account. You can keep on adding throughout your life if you have it. If you don't have it, you don't have to. But putting that money in and letting that work over a long period of time, now you are invested in that American dream, if you will, okay? You can create an account in less than 5 minutes, and Acorns give you small, simple steps to get you and your money on track. Financial wellness is not impossible. Let Acorns do the hard part so you can give your money a chance to grow, okay? That's what it's all about. They got a lot of like educational tools on there as well. They have different things you can set up. We've been even talking to them about setting up some programs where you can like invest at a young age, like let's say you're fresh out of college, you can set up a retirement fund for your parents that they don't even know about. And when they're at the retirement age, you've been putting very small amounts of money in that, but it's been growing, right, with that compound interest. And when they are retired, you get to let them know that they're going to be okay. I think it's a pretty cool thing. Nice little surprise when they finally decide to step down from whatever job they have. So sign up now and join over 13 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $22 billion with Acorns. Plus, Acorns will boost your new account with a $20 bonus investment. Offer available at acorns.com/flagrant. That is acorns.com/flagrant to get your $20 bonus investment today. Okay, I got to read this whole disclaimer. Paid non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisor. View and for disclosures at acorns.com/flagrant. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. You already see the light. You know what time it is. Dick's going up. Dick hard. Dick hard. Dick hard. Blue Chew. Same active ingredients inside Cialis or Viagra, but this is the chew. This one that we rock with, okay? We need to lay down a pipe. We need to lay down a pipe. Okay, we need to hit him with the pipe. You go to BlueChew.com. Okay, you make sure to use that promo code Flagrant. You can get your first month free. All you gotta do is pay the $5 shipping. Okay, this is absolute no brainer. You got a big date this weekend. She already knows she's putting out. She sends you the videos. She sends you the ass shaking. She tells you what she's gonna do with it. Rock up, my boys, and have a great time. Now let's get back to the show. Funny to see even in America, like we put out this piece. The intro to an episode basically right after the inauguration. And, you know, for the last 4 years, people cried, you know, a lot of times they were crying about the Democrats and they were crying about, you know, people making fun of, or, you know, who you can joke about or whatever. And we're clowning Elon because he had that fucking autistic moment where he's, you know, throwing a fucking Nazi salute. Yeah. Did he mean to tell everybody he's a Nazi in that moment? Of course not, right?
He didn't mean to. I do think he meant to do what he did, though. Okay. I think it's sort of like trolling.
That's
and like, okay. Let's see what I can.
That's debatable. Maybe that's the case, maybe not. And then we can even have that discussion. Yeah. I don't think that that was what he did. But there is a version where you could just be like, I did some dumbass shit right there, right? Yeah. Like you can just acknowledge it. You don't have to be like, you guys are stupid. I can't believe you do that. Or find all these excuses. Well, he was technically doing a Roman salute. Or like,
that is what the Nazis were doing, though. Yeah. So when people are like, it's a Roman salute, the Nazis back then were like, we're doing a Roman salute. They're not different.
Right. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Hitler was like, we all do the Roman salute. Yeah. By you going, I'm not doing the Hitler one, I'm doing the Roman one. That's like saying, you know.
My point is, like, there was all these right-wing guys like, oh, you can't make fun of anybody, and what happened to comedy? We should make fun of whatever. And the second the jokes are about Elon, it's like, oh, dude, you used to be funny. This is fucked up shit. You just became the guy you were criticizing for the last 4 years.
You see Ben Shapiro talking about Bill Burr?
What did he say?
He said, I've been a Bill Burr fan for years. I thought he's absolutely brilliant. I went to see him in Florida. He's gone woke. Like, Bill Burr's gone woke.
This is another thing. Like, there are narratives that happen when a comedian gets to, like, a certain size, right? A certain level of success. Like, I haven't seen it happen with me. I've seen it happen with other people. Like, and these narratives just sprout up, and you have to be a certain level of success for the narratives to even pop up. And what's interesting about Burr is, like, Burr is one of the most prolific comedians that's ever existed. And I've seen this thing happen, like, oh, he's going woke, or oh, it's honestly, I think this is my take on it. It's like, when feminism, like the pendulum swung way too far in one direction, and you could never feel like you could make fun of women, and women were saying insane shit. These, like, with the protection of feminism, if you call them out on it, then you're a sexist and you're a bigot. So everybody was really scared. Comedians who had jokes about the absurdity of this extreme feminism gained a lot of popularity because you could get the sentiment that we all had out. I mean, I definitely benefited from that. I had plenty of jokes about that. And Bill was amazing at that, prolific at that. Now, the pendulum has swung back. We don't need to make fun of feminists all the time.
Yeah.
We realize that they're retarded. So now he's just making fun of whatever he wants to make fun of right now. But because he doesn't offer that, like, social utility for you, now he's gone woke and now he's not funny. It's bullshit.
I also think...
You never liked him. You liked that he made you feel good with your feelings.
Yes, he validated your opinions with jokes. Yeah.
You never respected the craft or the art of comedy.
Totally. And as a comic, for me, like, when I'm watching comedy, like, and when I sort of, it's not even necessarily the most I ever laugh.
Yeah.
But the most respect I ever have for a comedian is when I do not know what, I don't think you should ever know what a comedian's real opinion on any subject is. Like, when a comic brings a subject up, and it could be, oh, I'm going to talk about trans people now or this or whatever. When I know what your next 4 minutes of opinions are going to be.
Bored.
I'm done with it. And I do think some comics get to a certain level, and we don't have to name names. I hate slagging off comics and stuff, like, publicly and whatever, but there's certain comics who are big, like arena level comics, and they bring shit up now, and I'm like,
we know the angle.
I know exactly what you think on this, even as a comic, and it would be so much funnier if Bill Burr in his new hour is doing an hour about why women are great. That'll be the best thing he's done in 10 years. It's so funny.
As long as it's funny. I don't care if you're woke, as long as it's funny.
Yeah, I'm assuming a baseline that the comic is getting laughs and it's funny.
Exactly, and that's what I hate about the criticism, right? It's like, you can be funny and have a progressive line of thinking. Yeah. There was a guy named Jon Stewart that did it really effectively for the last fucking two decades, probably. So, yeah, it's a shame when you see these people that they seem to, like, be fighting for comedy, and everybody can get these jokes, and the second the jokes are kind of against their point of view, all of a sudden, now that person has completely changed.
Everything's funny until it's about your thing. And, like, there's certain stuff people could bring up that I would be offended by, but you've just got to, you got to just... I've said this before on another podcast years ago. This is how I view comedy. This is, like, my sort of... the way I like to think about it. It's like we're lawyers, right? We're like defense lawyers. And the bit is our client. And our job isn't to worry about whether they're guilty or not. Our job is to get them off.
Yeah, sure.
Like, our job is to convince the jury that this is an innocent thing. And it doesn't matter whether, like, I take any client on, you could say, this is what my opinion is on this. Yeah. I've got to win the jury over. And that's why bad comics who are like, oh, the crowd are too woke for me. It's like, no. You're a bad lawyer. Yeah. You couldn't get your clients on. You couldn't convince a jury of your peers that your premise was innocent.
If you had an attorney say that, I'd be like, dude, you're going to jail because that jury's so woke. That jury sucks. I would have been like, that's not good.
You said you'd save my life. Yeah, look at the fucking woke.
No, you're 100% right. It's comedy should be like your emotional reaction to something. Yeah. It doesn't have to be what you know to be right or wrong. It's how you feel in the moment. Like all the old Borscht Belt comics, like, take my wife, please. You don't really want someone to take your fucking wife. But there's moments where you're like, get this bitch away from me, right? And that's the sentiment of the joke. So as long as you're honoring that emotional reaction to the joke, it doesn't matter what's fucking true or not true. And these Ben Shapiro types, so I don't know why we would give a flying fuck what they think about comedy anyway. Like, he literally says, facts don't care about your feelings. Comedy should not deal with facts at all. No. Like, the facts guys stay out of comedy. We are liars. liars. You know what I mean? I want the liar comics. I want the comics like, yo, I'm going to lie and it's going to be funny for the next hour. I'm like, I like you. You are interesting to me. You know, like when Patrice O'Neal talks about harassment day.
Oh, it's,
you know, he's not literally saying we should sexually harass women one day out of the year, but
be funny
emotionally.
if you did.
that's all comedy. That's all comedy has to be. It'd be funny if.
Yeah. I don't want to do this. It'd be funny if I did. Yeah,
we got the grooming gangs and we got the girls that fucking everybody. It'd be funny if we connected them. Tell the grooming gangs show up at Bonnie Blue's next thing. Problem solved. It'd be funny if. Why is that so hard for these nerds like Shapiro to understand?
Because he's
just don't have the
a
brain
super autistic, like ones and zeros guy.
Yeah, and comedy is in between ones and zeros.
Yeah, it's 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s and like.
Well, now you're exciting him. You're saying no. But yes, 100%. It's between the line. It's that emotion, it's that feeling, it's everything in between.
Yeah, most people have a thing where they go, "There's nothing funny about blank." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the comics go, "No, there's something funny
nothing
about."
Funny to you about like this,
and that's why we do it.
Yeah,
you're not a comedian.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro, you're the guy who says if comedians are too woke or not.
Yeah. That you have a new girlfriend, right?
Yes.
Has she seen your old set where you talk about your old girlfriend?
Well, I can't wait for this breakup.
All my cards are with me.
Like, speaking of understanding
Apple
comedy,
Pay's just on my phone.
I wonder if she's seen the old set and is like, "Well, I better act right, bro." Like, if she gets out of line,
if she wants to be famous, act very wrong. Yeah, you got to be careful for the toxics.
The girl I'm with now is we've been friends for a few years. So we were friends actually when I was working that stuff out. So she's seen like an early warm up of that show. We've been together since July, and she's great.
Asian?
Yeah. No. Is that an eye joke? Going back to your roots.
Bro, that's hilarious. Asian girls love you. They're just like, how does he open it so much?
They just have to sleep on this side of the bed.
Oh, bro.
Nah, you're like the Taylor Swift of comics, man. You get in a relationship, break up. Oh, I got to do special now.
You do 1 hour. And that sticks forever.
Bro, that's funny, though. I mean, you got to talk about your shit. It was a crazy story, though.
And genuinely, like, for legal reasons, I have to stress it was fictional.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Like, yes. It's a totally fictional hour.
Completely fictional. Yeah. There's no truth in it at all.
No.
And that's what I like about you.
And any resemblance to real life is purely coincidental.
Exactly.
Don't you hate those coincidences?
Yeah.
You have an hour of coincidences. You're
It's
like,
fucking
great.
wild.
Dumb.
Like, my mum's an alcoholic in real life and in the show. Like, what are the shit?
What are the odds?
What are the fucking chances?
I could have written anything, but it was just, it came out. You know?
That's a funny thing to put in the beginning of a special. Yeah. For legal reasons, all of this is fiction. Yeah. Oh, that's even more enticing.
Yeah, right?
It's, it was interesting putting a special like that out because, you know, that for me, that hour, so the hour you're talking about there is called Juicy. And that is more of like an Edinburgh Festival type hour of stand-up where it's, you know, it's one long story. I'm sat down for a lot of it. We shot it in a small room very deliberately. And that is not the way I've came up. Although I've gone to the Edinburgh Festival and done hours and stuff, I've never really, before that show, done like a long narrative hour and like figured out the reaction from like people who followed me for years and like fans of like our podcast and stuff was like, this, like, I love all your stand-up, I love all your jokes, I love all the routines. This is just different. Yeah. And the fact that there's like there's genuine like pieces of you and there's moments where you're not even trying to be funny and you're just talking to us. It's a totally different thing and we want more of that. And then so I put a special out in November, the most recent one, and that's a lot more clubby again. Yeah. Because I wanted to just go back out and do what I've done for years. I do think the next show I do will probably be another like narrative one. I want to like try another story and try and do another thing. It's the way it was received, like when you can really sort of put a piece of you like and be, you know, talk about your actual life and what you actually felt at moments, and proper give people a real story. The reaction to it, like if like the special I've just put out, I'm really proud of it. I think it's fucking great. A lot of people have messaged me and being like, this is so funny, fucking love it. They're sharing it. This is the best, like the funniest hour of stand-up I've seen. When I was getting messages about Juicy, they were like paragraphs in the DMs, like this, it made me remember
stories
this.
affect people differently in general. Like if somebody walks in the room right now and goes, guys, I got a crazy story, we're gonna give them about like 2 minutes of our attention no matter what. You know, it's like our earliest form of digesting information. Before we could like write shit down, it was just people saying, yo, this is kind of wild. I mean, the Odyssey, who the fuck remembered that entire story? But we're hardwired to remember these things, that have this long form narrative. You know, it's like if we wanted little chunks of things, movies wouldn't exist.
No.
But when you sit down for 2 hours, it's this one beautiful long story that kind of reflects, you know, the way that our lives are led, you know. So, but mixing things up, I think, is important too. You got to always keep your fans on their toes. I think like once they start expecting something, there can be a little boredom that comes with it. But they show up and they see this hour and it's all these punchy jokes and they're like, oh shit, whoa, that's right. Oh, he also does this. And then you hit them next time with something completely different.
That's what I want to do. Like the hour I've just put out, I love doing it. I worked with Alfie again, who like helped me with Juicy, like directed it. He was at like a lot of he was also opening for me, so he was at a lot of the tour shows being like, hey, you've done this a little different to last night. Last night was better and stuff like that. He's really good for that. And we shot this most recent one in my like bucket list venue. I know like your bucket list venue was MSG, and that's why I flew out for that with Carl. It was so good to be there for that.
Thank you, man.
But the first venue I ever seen comedy in was the Liverpool Empire Theatre. It's a British comic called Ross Noble.
Oh yeah.
And I was 16. I just like sort of found out like live comedy was a real thing. It wasn't just like something that was on the TV every now and then.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And that was sort of the start of like, oh, I can do this. And I remember like when I started, I was like, by the time I'm 30, I want to headline that room. Yeah. By the time I did it, I was 32. But the 2 years for COVID, I'm taking that off. And we did two, like fucking, you know, incredible like hometown support back home. So we did 2 shows in one night in the Empire Theatre. So that was nearly 5,000 tickets. And then later in the tour, we did the arena. And I've got the footage from that where, you know, the jokes are a little different and like we can release some clips from that eventually. But the special shot to just like the guy, like Will, who's like our camera guy at our podcast and like our production company, like he's filmed with me for years now. And he knows what I want from a special. Like a big thing for me is there's always movement in the shots. I never want a camera on a tripod that's like got no one doing this with it. Like if it's static, I want a slow zoom. If like, and he not only like just got what I wanted, the level to which he's filmed it, the shots, the backdrop, the haze is the perfect, like it's so good. The audiences were fucking incredible. And I'm so happy with how it came out. And I'm really happy with it as an hour to stand up, but just as a video, it's you can watch it with the sound off and I think you'd like it because he shot it so well. And I'm so proud of like, we did that with my team. Yeah. And that genuinely comes like genuinely from like what you guys do. Do you know what I mean? Like watching people like who just go, oh, I'm just going to make it myself. Yeah. And like, I shopped it round and we got a couple of bites and not the bites that I wanted. And I was like, it's going on YouTube. I want people to see it. Yeah. And the reason I came out to the States for these 2 weeks, I wanted to start again where no one really knows me. Yeah. And be going on in comedy clubs where they're like, who the fuck's it? And I've got to win them over again. Because like most comedy clubs in the UK, like I could probably get that a little bit, but there'll always be like 10% or whatever. And if I do it in Liverpool at my home club, at least half of the room are like, oh, here's Adam. Yeah. So I just wanted to like being in New York and Austin and being like, I'm starting again with clubby stuff for now, because we're about to go on like a podcast tour where I've got to do 20 minutes. Yeah. But in the back of my head, I'm sitting in cafes all day over here being like, what's this next like long story to give?
Then there's got to be something real. Like you can't make a story out of nothing. You know?
No, but like watching you do your show that I don't know how much you spoke about when your special's coming out and whatever, but
come out. I don't know if we've mentioned it, but basically next month it comes out on Netflix. Yeah.
But like I watched you do that twice, once in Manchester, once at MSG.
Yeah. Oh, you saw the new version in MSG. Yeah. Because I didn't announce the thing yet. Yeah. But
there's the back half of that special is a story.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah,
the front loaded, like you're being Schulz and what everyone knows, but there's like for people who haven't seen that tour live and are going to watch the special, there's a shift in that hour, isn't there?
Yeah.
From Infamous.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
not the same.
Yeah,
it's not just another album. It's
that was the idea. I mean, the idea is I wanted to tell a story. And it was not something I'd never done before. I also want to be personal. Like I never thought my life was interesting enough to be personal. You know, and then this I was really hard for us to have a kid, and then I started talking about it on stage, and then I started getting those reactions from people, and they were like, "Well, yeah, I'm kind of going through the same thing," and I was like, "Oh shit, it's not just me," and I started reading all these books about storytelling. And like learning like what the structure was and the different arcs that you have to do and the 3 acts. And I was like, okay, maybe I can turn this into a story, but I don't want the audience to think that it's a one-man show.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like that was a little bit of it's like you're asking them to lower their expectations a little. You know what I mean? So I wanted to start as stand-up and then turn into this thing and see if I can kind of hold your attention. And then the weirdest thing would happen is like you get into the story and like you can just feel the energy.
Yeah.
Like they're like, where's this going? Wait, what's going to happen? Wait, no. And I can see why you're compelled to do it again. Because once you capture their attention in that way, it feels different than just punchlines. Yeah.
If I'm fully honest with you, so the most recent special that went out was called What's Wrong With Me?
Yeah.
And when I first sat down to start writing that, I had the exact same sort of plan.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to front load it with bang, 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 bang. And the last 20 minutes is going to be more whatever. And
I'm curious, how much of the last 20 is true? Like the kid throwing the shoe,
that's
the
a true
MRI.
Story. So we can. I haven't clipped that yet. But we can talk about that.
Okay,
that is almost all true.
Really? Okay.
So,
it's
but
really,
also none of it is. Yeah, none of it is.
Oh yeah, just
none of it is true.
Yeah,
it's
so good.
No,
It's really
this isn't juicy. This isn't.
I'm just saying to protect you. None of it is.
Yeah.
So I was at the airport. So the story at the end of this show, which I thought would be more of a narrative story, sit down, let's have a conversation bit. And just as I was doing it on tour and working with Alfie on it, Alfie was like, this can just be punchy. Like it's funny enough that we can keep it punchy and it's still interesting and you don't have to slow down quite as much as you did with Juicy. So let's just let it be what it's going to be. Like let the sort of show choose itself sort of thing. But I'm a bit fucking mental with like health anxiety, like bad hypochondria. So like I've thought I'm having like heart attacks and strokes before and it's like really all consuming at times. And for a year, I didn't get checked for a year, but I had Googled symptoms and I was pretty sure I had multiple sclerosis, MS, right? Which is not like a death sentence, but severely life affecting. It can limit your life, but it's not like you're going to die, whatever. And I was sat at the airport waiting to do a show to Belfast. And I'd been putting it off because in my head, genuinely, I was like, I don't want to know I've got it because then I've got it.
Yeah, then you're dead.
I'd rather think I've got it.
You're dead.
No, I feel that 100%. I'd
rather think I've got it than have it.
I avoid that shit.
So I'm putting it off, but like literally. So this is the true version of the story. I would wake up every morning and the first thing my brain would give me was, you got MS, just so you know.
Yeah. What?
And then I'm going to sleep at night and it didn't matter, unless I was like hammered and I've been out with the boys and you just pass out. Yeah. Like if I'm like sober and going to bed and like the room's quiet, my brain would be like, yeah, just go to sleep. But you know, you have got MS. So just so you know, like it's just constant all the time. And like if I was really hungover, all the symptoms got real worse and it was bad. And then I'm sat in the airport waiting for this flight to Belfast, which is a 25-minute flight. And it was delayed by 2 hours. And I'm sat there and there was 2 people who were obviously also waiting for the same plane. And it was a woman and the guy she cares for who was like severely disabled, like shouty, non-control of limbs disabled.
Yeah.
And he kept taking his shoe off and throwing it down the airport lounge. And I was just really enjoying it. It was really funny. It was so fun. Like for the first time I seen it, I'm like, she's having a bad day. I think I'm having a bad day waiting for this plane, but like she's having a bad day. And she keeps like putting it back on. She's putting it on. She's going, stop it now. people are watching us. It's not funny. Fucking stop it now. And then he would sit there and he would just wait a few minutes. And he'd take it off again. He'd done it for the entire delay. Yeah. And every time it got funnier. And in the end, I'm like laughing out loud and like clapping and stuff. And then that day, genuinely, was the day I booked my MRI scan to get tested for MS.
Yeah.
Because the biggest fear I had, and this is true, was that I wouldn't, if it was going to affect my speech and my ability to hold a microphone and stuff, if it affected my ability to do stand-up, which is all I really care about, is being able to be a comic. That's all. I want to be a great comic, and that's like my life thing. Yeah. I was like, if it takes that away from me, I won't find it funny. Yeah. I won't find having a disability funny. Yeah. And watching him throw his shoe again and again and again. Yeah, yeah. And the fact that every time she told him off, he waited. Yeah. So he knew what he was doing. Yeah, yeah, because otherwise, if he just didn't know, he'd have took it straight off again and threw it again. Yeah. But he was waiting until it was funny again. Yeah. And it didn't matter that he was like that. To say, like there was a part of his brain that was like, this is hilarious. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, if he's seeing the funny side of what he's got, like I'm not going to be that. So I've got to be able to find humor in mine. Yeah. And I went and got checked.
And then it turned out you were gay? Or
I was hungover. I was drinking too much. That was
it. A different disease. Different disease.
Runs in the family.
I wonder if you've got what that guy has. You know what I mean? If you guys both think shoe off is the funniest thing ever, you're like, dude, I got that.
And you know, since I got checked, because I hadn't really spoken to any of like my friends.
This is so funny.
Like about the symptoms and stuff. Yeah. So like I just Googled it and Google goes, you've got MS.
Yeah, of course.
And I've spoken to like mates of mine since and I'm like, oh, it was, it's there. And they were like, yeah, I get that too. But like I know there's been this like wave of like men need to talk more. Yeah, yeah. If we did just have a little, I'd have never paid two grand for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know. You know when you go like heavy on a night and you wake up the next day?
Yeah.
Do you ever like struggle to sort of articulate your words?
Oh yeah, you can't think of words. You're trying to remember
on
shit.
Stage, you're like, or do you ever like go to speak and you need to swallow your saliva? Yeah. Like you've got to swallow. Yeah. These are all symptoms of multiple sclerosis.
Oh.
So like this is what I was getting to like a severe level if I was having like a big night and I'm going on stage the next night and I'm having to like constantly sip water so that I can get through the set. And then I Googled it and I was like, oh, what is it? And it's like, you've definitely got multiple sclerosis. And for a year I was like putting it off and I paid a lot of money for the doctor to be like.
So all these people are out here running 10K for a bunch of alcoholics?
I think so.
We're waking up at 6 in the morning and jogging the freezing cold for a guy who had too many fucking assholes.
And you're so stressed about it, you're like, you know what'll help with this? Alcohol.
Yeah.
Having a drink.
But it also is the only thing that helps.
Because when you're drunk, you're like, I don't have MS.
I can speak fine. I can get my words out really clearly right now.
Have you been a hypochondriac forever?
It started about a month after my dad had a heart attack. So like I had a real, like there was a good few months in, my mum died in September. My dad had a heart attack and nearly died in December. And a month later, I started getting like severe chest pain. And I went to hospital via an ambulance, like well into double figures in one calendar month. Now in the UK, that costs nothing. So like over here, I probably couldn't have afforded the hypochondria. But like in the UK, I would turn up and I'd be like, I think I'm having a heart attack again. And it'd be like the same nurse. And she'd be like, okay, cool. So they'd hook me up to the ECG machine and they'd like check. And then, but every time this is what they'd say. They'd go, look, you're 24. You don't smoke. You don't do cocaine.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a heart attack. Like you're not. But you could.
Okay, don't say that.
So if you get like worse symptoms than you had today, if it feels really different, then come back because then we need to see
And your brain goes, got it.
Yeah. And then the next day, I'm like, this feels different to yesterday. Nah. And then back to the hospital.
You were just a regular at the hospital. You'd walk up and be like, I'll take the same thing.
Room 2? Yeah, room 2.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. I want to talk to you about freedom, okay? Freedom from exhaustion, freedom from fatigue, freedom from drowsiness, freedom from sleepiness, okay? There's one way that you can do that. Coke. Now, Now that we got our border shut down, that Coke is going to be hard to get. So how are you going to compensate? You're going to do it with another C word, coffee. Black Rifle coffee to be exact, okay? Many people have told me it's the cocaine of coffee. A lot of you guys are sniffing unnecessary fentanyl in your nose when you could be slurping on a Black Rifle coffee, right? Being a proud American. Feeling free. Not having a caved-in nose. That's what happens when you're sniffing up all that cocaine and fentanyl coming across the border, which is now shut down. Okay? If you want to be free of cocaine and fentanyl, but still be awake to stand on that border and see if migrants are crossing, Black Rifle coffee is the way to do it. Okay? If you need to be up all night patrolling the border for America,
I was waiting for it.
to make sure I need at least one cacaw in every Black Rifle. Yeah. You make sure, if you want to be up, I know some of y'all are up all night on cocaine patrolling that border. You don't need that anymore. You got the Black Rifle coffee. You didn't even know that was possible. I just added the cacao and coffee together. How did I do that? I had the Black Rifle espresso with cream, and my brain started coming up with unbelievable ideas. How to stop abortions. How to... Just kidding, Al. I'm just kidding. Al, don't be concerned. The point that I'm trying to make is this Black Rifle coffee right here is going to keep at least 300 migrants outside of your country. 100% guaranteed. This Black Rifle coffee right here is going to make sure that all of our trade partners bend a knee and kiss the feet. Okay? If you're slurping down a Black Rifle coffee, you are projecting America into its next golden age of freedom and excellence, and mostly workers from America. mostly workers. There are no H-1B visas at the Black Rifle Coffee Company. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I assume when I drink this espresso with cream. Caw. My point is, if you go to blackriflecoffee.com and use the code FLAGRANT, you're going to keep 30% more migrants out of this country, and you're going to get 30% off today and see what all the hype is about. Let's get back to the show. All right, guys, let's take a break for a second. Listen, everybody knows somebody who is, deeply affected by the wildfires in LA, okay? We just had somebody over the studio a couple weeks ago who lost absolutely everything. I've had tons of friends that lost absolutely everything. It is incredibly tragic. It's one of the worst natural disasters that we've ever experienced here in America. I think they said it was something like $250 billion worth of damage. There are priceless memories that are absolutely, evaporated by that fire. Obviously, there's a lot of questions. There are claims that insurance companies canceled thousands of homeowners' fire policies in the months leading up to the fires. Were those cancellations legal? Could this catastrophe have been avoided? Was the city prepared? Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, has helped millions of families in their times of need, just like now. They were there for the PG&E wildfire and for the Maui wildfires, and now they're here again to help the families that have been affected by the Los Angeles wildfires. So if you or someone you know lost property because of these California wildfires, you can check out Morgan & Morgan today, okay? They might be able to help you out. They might be able to get you the bag that you deserve. So for more information, go to CaliWildfireLawsuit.com/flagrant. That is Cali, C-A-L-I, wildfirelawsuit.com/flagrant to learn more. This is a paid advertisement for Morgan & Morgan. Now let's get back to the show.
What's the wildest thing you believed you had?
I think MS is hard to top. The heart attack stuff was the worst. That was a good 18 months of being completely uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And it was definitely tied to, you lose a mum and then
yeah, of course.
This is also how much my family drink. This is true. So my dad had that heart attack on my little brother's 18th birthday.
Yeah. Can we get another beer or two in here for Adam?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I want to see some symptoms.
I have to wait till tomorrow morning.
I know. Grab me one too. Go on.
My dad had that heart attack on my little brother's 18th birthday.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had a set at the comedy club in Liverpool. So my little brother was going for a meal in the little village near where we lived, West Derby Village, and then was going into the city centre to go out into the early hours of the morning. So I was like, right, I'll come to the meal. I'll quickly run into town, do my set, and then I'll come and meet you back at the bar. He's like, great. So I have the meal. I go to town, and I'm literally behind the curtain waiting to go on, and my phone rings, and it's thanks, man. It's my little brother, and initially I thought I'll just turn this off. I was like, there's 15 of him and his friends, and what he's probably going to be like is, can you get me into your show? Me and my friends want to watch your set. So I thought I'll just fucking button him. And, you know, I'll see him after the thing. But something made me answer the phone.
Fucking button him.
Buy a ticket, lad.
And I answered it, and he goes, you need to leave the comedy club right now. And I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm about to go on stage. What do you mean? And he goes, me dad's having a heart attack. And I was like, what? And I like, obviously I don't really remember the next like 5 minutes, but apparently I just go like white.
Yeah.
And so there's another guy there who's supposed to go on after me. He was like, he's like, the host's already on, they think I'm on. And like this passing the note culture in America where it's like someone else is going on, that's not a thing. So the host just goes, Adam Rowe. And this other guy, Pete, goes on stage and just explains what's going on. And so I call my dad's phone, because Jack's like, he's gone to the hospital. And the doctor answers and he's like, yeah, he's currently in the Royal Liverpool Hospital, but he's being transferred to Broad Green Heart and Chest Hospital because he is having a heart attack and they need to operate on him right now. So we go to Broad Green Hospital. I get there, and then my like family have sort of heard of it. Like they've heard what's going on through my brother and other people. So like my auntie, or aunt for you guys, her partner, my uncle, and a few cousins, and there's a load of us in this little room. And the first thing, you know, when you're like, this is how comedy can really like fix an awful moment. We're all just so sad. My dad is like under the knife having the surgery like right now to try and fix what's going on. And we're all just like devastated and don't know what to do. And my uncle, who's not with us anymore, he died a few years ago. He was just the most gentle giant in the world, but he was also fucking stupid, like so thick. And he goes into the bathroom and he comes back in, and he goes, "This is a real, like, fancy hospital, this." And I was like, "What? It's an NHS hospital on the outskirts of Liverpool. What the fuck are you talking about?" And he goes, "No. They make you sign the wall to say you've been and used the toilet." And I was like, "No, that's the cleaning thing." And he'd got a pen.
Oh. Like he just got rid of his cancer?
Like, no. So, you know, on the wall of a bathroom, when the cleaner goes in and cleans the bathroom, they have to sign to go 1 p.m, Sheila clean the thing. Yeah. There's just like Marie, Sheila, and then just Colin. And we're all fucking dying laughing at that. And another hour goes, my dad's still in the surgery. And then this guy comes in and he goes, "Look, your dad's going to make it. He's in a pretty, you know, it was a pretty big clot that he had, and we've got it out. And it's going to be a long road to recovery, but we're going to bring him past this waiting room you're in now to put him into there, but you're not going to be able to see him for a couple of hours, just so you know." And we're like, "Okay." And then about 30 seconds later, we hear like double doors go to the end of the corridor. So we're all poking our heads out the door. And my dad is being wheeled on a bed, but he is sat up off his fucking head on drugs with thumbs up. And I go, "Are you all right?" And he says, "I think I'll make last orders."
What does that mean?
Like the last call at the bar.
That's nice of him to let you guys know, like, hey, don't worry.
Like 20 minutes later, like, "You can go and see him." And my dad was like, "So are we leaving?" And we were like, "You're going to be here for like a week."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm fine." He was like, "You've had a heart attack." He's like, "Yeah, but I'm not anymore."
They fix it.
Yeah, past tense. It's
perfect now.
He was like a football player with a thumbs up. He's getting stretchered off. You know, it's kind of nice. Let everyone know you're okay.
So funny.
Oh, that's wild.
But he's passed, you said?
My uncle has, the guy who signed his name.
But your
on
dad?
it. My dad's still with us.
He's okay, good shit. How old are you now?
33.
Okay, cool.
Are you boozing less now, ever since your MS?
No.
If anything, like...
Now that you know you don't have MS.
Cheers.
I go through phases with drinking where I'm like, I'll go like I've signed up for a half marathon in May. So like for like 8 weeks before that, I'll really cut it out and I'll run like a lot more than that. My weight always fluctuates, me drinking. Like I go real hard for like a while and then go, let's just have a little chill.
Yeah. Which period are you in right now?
So normally I would like have a relatively quiet January but my birthday is the 11th of January.
It's the 11th, and you're in New York. Yeah, no.
So like with this year, I was like, Christmas was a heavy session, and then January I was like, the 2nd of January is my housemate's, like my roommate's birthday.
Exactly.
The 11th is my birthday.
Yeah.
I'm in New York and Austin for 2 weeks.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, we'll see what February looks like, you know. But then the podcast's on tour in Dublin in February, so maybe we have to see what March looks like.
And then
But then it's my dad's birthday.
Oh, you gotta celebrate for that. Yeah, you gotta get after that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And then April's Easter, you know, that's a big week.
We're gonna be sober during Easter. That's crazy. That's insane.
Have you ever turned down a drink from your family? I did this like a week ago. Like my dad was like, "Oh yeah, what are you gonna have?" I was like, "I'm not gonna drink." He goes, "All right, come on." I was like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "All right, we'll just have 2 Merlots," and just ordered me a drink. He's like, "All right."
I wish Alex would learn how to turn down a drink. I wish he would. Like, yo, you can't take this motherfucker anywhere.
Oh,
dude.
why? What do you do?
No.
Are you heavy on the booze?
No, he's
Yes.
not heavy on the booze. But if he has like 3 drinks, he has no ability to control the questions that he asks any people. Yeah, no matter what the environment he's in. I go
Right
down
now,
to
I
the.
want to ask you about your eye.
Ask me about the eye.
No, let him have 2 more drinks. He's like,
So your whole
just say
family's
the
dead,
real
huh?
thing.
Everyone's dead. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so can you see better out of that one? Okay, so we go down to do this. I love that you're playing paddle. By the way, you were telling me out there you're playing.
Yeah.
Love that. So I go down to do this. I get to be a co-captain in this paddle, this reserve cup thing, right? So this guy Wayne and reserve, they're really like the people that are pushing paddle in America. And they have this big cup. They get like the 16 best players in the world, and they go do this tournament. It's awesome. You get to play and watch these guys, and it's incredible. And I'm obsessed with this sport. It's not even popular yet, so you're right there. You're watching them. It's unbelievable. It's like. It'd be like if you were watching like the dream team in basketball scrimmage against each other, but there's only, a couple hundred people in the gym.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. And I go, Al, you want to come down to like Miami? It'll be fun. We'll like hang out. And he was, yeah, actually, I would like to do that. And I was like, oh, awesome. Like my friend, I don't get to hang out with him that much anymore. He's going to come down. This is great. Comes down, we're all hanging out. Now, the other captain is a guy named Derek Jeter, who is the shortstop for the Yankees. You know Derek Jeter. And, growing up in New York, he's the king of New York, right? And, to the king go to spoils, and there was, lots of great stories about Derek Jeter. And maybe the most famous story that's ever come out about Derek Jeter is that, this is a story. This is a fictional story, is that, after he would bed the most beautiful women in New York City, he would give them a gift basket of his signed memorabilia as a sign of his appreciation. Legend. Okay?
Yeah.
So Derek's a co-captain. Like I get to meet Derek, or he's the other captain. I get to meet Derek, and I'm chopping it up with him. And I'm like, at a certain point in time, I'm asking about this gift basket, and I'm like warming up to it. And he's the like sweetest, nicest guy. Like, and he's also like, he's this nice, polite, fucking handsome, dignified dude. But he's also been like playing baseball, which is just hanging around with guys in a dugout for 20 years, maybe 30. He's playing with his kids, so he knows how to be like a bro and hang as well. He's starting to get a little loose. We're busting balls a little bit. And Alexx comes over, and Alexx is so excited. And Alexx is like 4 tequilas deep, right? And I see Alexx come in hot.
He just appears sometimes, right?
He pops up out of nowhere, and usually you could like hover in the periphery, and I'm going to introduce you. He introduces himself, right? He goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know my name is Alexx Media." He gives him his like famous name, not even like his real name. And he goes,
His gamer tag.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he goes, "My name's
You want
Alexx
to add me
Media."
on Xbox?
He goes, "Hey, my name is Alexx Media. I just want to know you're a legend." And I'm like, "All right, where's this going?"
No, that's fine.
And he goes, "You're a legend." And then he looks at, and then Derek's like, "Oh, thanks so much, man." He goes, No. You're a legend." And I'm like, "No, Al, don't do it. Don't do it." And he just goes, "I gotta know. What's up with the gift basket?" Now, Derek is so media trained, right? He goes, "Man, I mean, you got to be stupid to even believe a story like that. You got to be stupid." Now, he don't say it didn't happen. He just says you got to be stupid to even believe a story like that. So I'm
That's
like,
such a good denial,
it's
isn't it?
beautiful,
Oh.
right? You got to be stupid to even believe a story like that. Now, I've always wanted to ask Derek this one question because I've always thought about the gift baskets, because I'm like, hold on. There are guys that probably got gifted like a signed baseball from their favorite baseball player by their girlfriend, like a Derek Jeter signed baseball. And after that story came out, I always wondered what those dudes thought. Like they'd pick up that baseball and be like, how the fuck did you get this baseball? You know what I mean? Like, can I see the authentication? Like, where the fuck is this baseball from, right? And so I could try to like, you know, just calm the situation down. And I go, yeah, wouldn't that funny if a guy said that? And he's just kind of laughing. We're all kind of laughing. And it goes silent for a second. He goes, nah, but you did that shit, right? Now, Al's so drunk, he doesn't start to realize Derek getting annoyed, and Derek starts going, I mean, you got to be a fucking idiot to believe that. He says fucking idiot to believe that. And Al goes, nah, you the man, bro. That's crazy. Bro. And Al has one line, right, that he had fucking in the deck for about 10 years. He goes, ha ha ha, shortstop, more like long stop. No. Volley goes, oh yeah, that was ready to go. Al goes, I've been waiting to say that for 10 years.
And Jeter's just there the whole time.
And this guy's like a hero of yours as well. And this is his story of you.
Bro. I'm so embarrassed.
Derek might have said 3 different times, you would have to be a fucking idiot to believe
And he was right.
story.
And he was right.
I think one of the times I was like, this fucking idiot believes that.
And Al always prides himself on being like the coolest guy when he meets people. Like anytime someone comes in, I take a picture of him. Al's always like,
and you really fucked. Like at some point, someone's gonna
Bro,
like
he did a
show.
whole Instagram carousel post where it was like him and Derek Jeter, a picture of a gift basket. Right? Go to his Instagram right now. He's snitching on himself. He's a father of 4. Okay, he's a businessman now. He's a legend.
At some point, Derek Jesus is going to be sat with one of his friends, and one of his friends is going to be like, "Oh, there's this podcast I watched called Flame. Like, look at it." And Derek Jesus is going to go, "I met those guys, and see that guy. You know what he fucking did?
He's a fucking idiot.
Look at this. Look at a happy hour. I thought I was the agent. Go back. Oh, look at you fucking cornball. Go back. You know, I thought I was at the age that I wouldn't geek out if I met one of my childhood heroes, but I just met Derek Jeter, and that is not the case. Next slide. Respect. Next slide. Gift basket. Next slide. Is there one more?
No. There was a couple he didn't post. I already know.
Yeah. Oh,
Trying to get ahead of it.
Oh, man.
Bro, you might have MS. For real, dude.
Shout out Derek, though. Derek's a fucking man, dude.
You think we can get him on the podcast?
I was immediately trying to get him on the podcast. He goes, you got to come on a podcast. You got to tell some of
I
those
gotta
stories.
make up for this, bro.
Bro, I said to him, I go, Derek, what you need to do is never come on this podcast, okay? Until every one of your business deals is signed, sealed, delivered, and you were ready to retire and anger your wife and your entire family, then you come on Flagrant and you tell some stories with the boys.
Yo, I think I said to him, I was like, yo, you're married, I know. Would your wife care if you gave out gift baskets? And he's like, nah, probably not. It's like, then you need to go with this lie and sell it right now. Like,
I mean, it can't be true. Like, when he said you got to be a fucking idiot to believe it, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing ever. But you have to understand what we saw Derek Jeter as. Like, who is the biggest football player in England when you were growing up?
For me, it was Steven Gerrard.
Okay, so it's Gerrard, or some people's Beckham, or something.
Gerrard.
Gerrard.
Only Gerrard.
Gerrard, midfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that from FIFA.
Went to my school.
No way.
Yeah, same school. Same school as Carl, my mate, and Paddy the baddie.
Oh, no way.
All the same school.
That was crazy, that Paddy thing that happened
Paddy
recently.
and Steven are painted on the walls. I'm not on the walls.
You gotta get on that wall, dude. You gotta get on that fucking wall. Start handing out some gift baskets. Nah, but shout out Derek, man. I thought he handled your drunk ass very well.
okay, cool.
Well, I don't know. I kind of left the convo and I told Val, I was like, yo, get Alexx the fuck out of there immediately.
I've never been more embarrassed.
Would you want him on the podcast now, or would you be worried you're going to make it weird?
Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be
absolutely.
amazing.
I gotta make
But
up.
at the same time, it's like, I would only want him if he was comfortable talking that shit about what happened.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm trying to like equate it to something. Like, this guy had the city in his hand. Like, the Knicks weren't really balling like that. We weren't winning championships. He was winning championships. I mean, the Yankees win, there's an entire parade. The whole city shuts down. We don't have school. Like, it's unbelievable.
You know what's crazy to me? So, like, I love sports, and I'm a real, like, when in Rome guy.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm somewhere, I want to go and do the thing. So, like, while I've been in New York, but like in the past, I've been to a Knicks game, been to a Rangers game, been to a Nets game, been to a Jets game now.
Yeah.
But I went to, when me and Carl came out to see you at MSG,
Yeah.
we went to a Yankee game.
Yeah.
I really like it. Like, not even just the sport. The sport's fine.
It's boring.
But like the idea of just being sat, not really needing to pay attention with your friend, just drinking beer
it's just
all
drinking
afternoon.
beers. Yeah.
But it was fucking empty.
Really? Was this just like a regular season game against a bum team?
So it was against Detroit.
Yeah.
But I would say 15% of seats taken.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Wow.
I mean, usually the Yankees sell tickets. There are teams where it's completely empty. Like, it looks like it's preseason.
So what's the point?
They play so many games too.
Yeah, they play 162 games, and the TV deals is where they make all the money. But I think something's got to change with baseball. Like, I don't think there's the same
it's got to.
Yeah.
Like for obviously the only sport I really care about back home is like our football.
Yeah.
You can't, like, I can only get a ticket to a Liverpool game because I know enough people who've got like there's 20 of us, we go to every game.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 people can't make it. Like, I know enough groups of that I can normally get 1 or 2 tickets.
Yeah.
You can't, like, every single game sells out.
Yeah.
Like, at the start of the season, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Whether we're good or bad.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't, like, when we were there, we were just like, we were watching it being like, oh, maybe everyone gets here for the second half.
Yeah.
Like, for the end. And then we got for the second half and I was like,
And that's weird. I mean, that sounds weird for a
That's
Yankee
because
game.
Jeter's not playing.
Yeah, it's probably. No, but even this year, they were good. Like, that's peculiar.
Yeah.
who's the forgive me for being so like unknowledgeable, who's like the guy right now who's like expected to get a home run?
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. So I won some money on him because like a friend of mine was like, get Aaron Judge on for a home run, and I think he got one.
Oh, you gambled. You
yeah.
Oh, I like that. You like to put some money down or what?
Oh yeah.
Really? Yeah. Is that like tell me. What is your sport?
I'm gonna put $1,000 on the Eagles.
Really? Well, you know what? If you're gonna gamble on sports, you got to do it with steak. We've changed outfits, but it's important because this week is maybe the greatest week in sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by that I mean it is another reminder that the Dallas Cowboys are not in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm broken. So I take back everything I said. I'm pretty certain the Eagles are going to win because this is just the year that God has decided to make everything I hate happen. So the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to throw myself off of whatever fucking bridge there is.
I just want to remind you that Akash is having a career year right now. Okay? This guy's selling out 100 shows every single city he goes to. It's unbelievable what he's doing. And he's still upset about his football team.
Why, God, why? That's all I can think to say.
The point is, if you're going to bet on the Super Bowl, you should not trust Akash because he's been wrong every single week.
Yep.
We still trust him, but we're down to lose our money. If I was you, I would put that money on them Kansas City Chiefs, okay? The last team in the league that still represents a Native American, okay? There's something very important about that.
That is fire.
That is fire.
That is
100%.
fire.
Okay, and that's why they haven't lost. They got the luck of the natives. Simple as that.
They didn't
If
have
it was
that
the
good
Washington Redskins, they might be in it.
Oh, that's probably why they
I'm
lost.
just saying.
But they
Probably
haven't
lost.
had the best luck.
Who? The natives?
Yeah.
I know. I think it's more irony.
They got good luck with them casinos. Tell Steak came in.
Steak is the leader of the global betting and U.S. social casinos. Bet on top sports and political events. Use the promo code FLAGRANT for your welcome bonus. All right, I just want to let you know, Steak is definitely owned by 100% Native American. No, it's owned by 100% natives. That's what it is, natives. Natives to where, we do not know. But those people are native to somewhere, and that is a fact, okay? Now let's get back to the show. You should go check out the Super Bowl. That'd be cool.
I really want to go to the Super Bowl. Like 1 year. I'd love to go.
That's a
like
good American event.
Dan, the co-host of our podcast, Have a Word, he's like a big, he doesn't care about football, like our football at all, really. But he's a big NFL guy. His team is the Saints, but he's not really that bothered. He wants them to win, but like he just loves the game.
Yeah.
And he's desperate for the Chiefs not to win this. He wants it to be more interesting than that. And I'm really getting into it. But yeah, like I just love the Sundays watching the NFL in the UK are great because normally if Liverpool play on a Saturday, great. If they play early Sunday, I can watch Liverpool play at like lunchtime.
Oh yeah, all your NFL games are super late.
Well, there's one that'll start at like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So I can go to the Liverpool game, get back, watch the first game. Next game's 9:30. I'll watch that one. And then if I'm not tired and I still want to stay up, there's a 1 o'clock game. And I can be up till 4 a.m. And it's just fucking great. And every game, but it's so easy. I know like you've got like a sponsor there, but like it's so much more difficult in the States to gamble than it is in the UK.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Wait, why?
The UK, every like strip of shops has a bookies on it.
Wait, you can't do it digitally though?
Yeah, you can. I do it on my phone. So
Yeah.
I mean, they don't operate in the US, so I hope it doesn't affect your sponsor.
Yeah.
I use a company called Bet365.
Yeah, you use a steak. Go on.
It's so easy. But like I'll be watching like I'll have a bet on the game, like the money line of the game or the cover or whatever.
Yeah.
And like with soccer, with our football, like I'll have, you call it a parlay, we call it an accumulator or an ACCA.
Yeah.
Like I'll have like every Prem game, I'll try and whatever. If Liverpool are playing, and if Man United are playing, I'll bet against them. Like Boxing Day this year, the day after Christmas. So every year on Boxing Day, me and the lads I went to school with, we still get together.
Yeah.
That's our day.
Yeah.
Like Christmas is fine. Boxing Day is my day. So this year we played golf at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
By 12, we'd done like half the course. And we were like, fuck this, let's go to the pub. So we got to the pub after like half the course. And we were in the pub until 6 p.m. and then Liverpool played at 8 p.m. But there's games all day. So 9 a.m. golf after the breakfast with the boys, straight to the pub for lunch with the boys and beers, and then Liverpool playing the night. And I won about $4,500 on Boxing Day.
Wow.
Man United played Wolves. I put like 200 quid on Wolves to beat them. At one point, Manchester City got a penalty, and I bet in that moment on them to miss that penalty, and they missed the penalty. I bet like a really like convoluted thing on the Liverpool game.
Bro, I don't know how you guys do this. I can't. I get so stressed. Like anytime I put money down, I was just like, I can't even watch. It's like that makes it so agonizing.
You can only bet money that if you don't win, you're just like
Yeah.
It has to be fun. Like there's like people get genuine gambling problems where they're like, my rent relies. Like I'd never ever put money down where I'm not worried about it. And also, I set myself a limit at the start of the season. I'm like, that's what I've put in my account. That's what I'm betting with. And anything else, I'm betting with the bookies' money.
What does that mean, betting with the bookies' money?
So like, let's say I've put 500 quid in my account,
Yeah.
and I've won $3,000.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Then it's their money.
Yeah.
Like if I put £1,000 on the Eagles,
Yeah.
I'm putting stakes money
Yeah.
on the thing.
Yeah.
And if I win, then great, I get more of stakes money. And if I lose, okay, stake get a bit of their money back.
Yeah. No, I think that's
actually a good way to look at it.
Yeah. It's not my money until the end of the season. And at the end of the season, I'll buy a new watch.
Alex, outside of having that beautiful moment with Derek, how did you enjoy the paddle tournament?
Live and watching professionals, fire sport.
right?
Watching them play,
That was fun.
it's not the
Play,
same.
you think you're them. Like when it's
How?
like,
I don't know how you think you
no, like when I play, I'm like, oh, I'm doing the exact same thing they're doing, and then I see videos of it, and it just looks like someone's putting it in slow motion.
Yes,
like
that's
it
what
is
I'm saying.
pathetic.
It's like sex. It really is. Like you watch videos, you're like, I'm that guy. You know what I mean? And you see yourself, you're like, what the fuck is that?
And then you're in a hotel room with like mirrored wardrobes and you catch yourself, you're like, oh, God.
What is he doing to that girl?
But it's fire though.
No, it is.
Tap out.
You got to get into it, man.
It
It's
is
just
fire.
incredible.
Like watching the professionals play, it's so fast and they're so technical. Like that is a sport. Like, it is dope.
And they stretch out the points for so long. Like there's like weird things how like climate affects of it when it's cold. Like the balls are less. The air is, I guess, more dense, so the ball doesn't fly as much.
Yeah.
So they can't knock it out as easily. So the points would just last forever, and you get to see them. I mean, it's just masterful the way they're doing it. I it's such a weird thing to describe to people because a lot of people don't even know what the sport is. Half of the people think I'm talking about fucking pickleball. I'm not talking about pickleball.
What's the difference?
So pickleball is basically like ping pong, but you're standing on the table.
Okay.
So it's like a smaller tennis court. The ball is like this corked thing, and it's for basically like old people.
Okay.
Like that's the idea of it. Yeah.
So when I was in school,
Yeah.
and I mean like high school, and it's not there anymore, but the school, like playground, the yard, we had what was called, and I've never seen this anywhere else in the world, but I assume it's like an iteration of either pickleball or paddle.
Paddle tennis.
It was short tennis, it was called.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same as paddling, that you serve towards the back of the court.
Yeah.
And you serve, but you would serve underarm.
Yeah. Some people call it like lawn tennis or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like we used to get 2 breaks in the day. We'd get a break at like 11 and another at 1. And
Yeah.
the 11 o'clock break was like 20 minutes and 1 was an hour.
Yeah.
And you could buy a bat for £5, so maybe like $6, $7 from the design departments of the school.
Yeah.
And you would go home and you would paint your bat, whatever, like you put like a an LFC logo on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But every day we would play this.
Yeah.
And then I got to like sort of, the age of 15 and they changed the schoolyard and they weren't there anymore. And it like that sport just left my head. Yeah. And then about a year ago, I see you.
The skills still. Yeah. I'll keep going. This is
about
good.
a year ago, I see you posting on like Instagram and I'm like, that looks a bit like an enclosed short tennis.
Yeah.
And then 2 separate groups of friends of mine. So there's a venue in Liverpool called Pins Social Club. Okay. And it's a bar right in the city centre. It's got like bowling, table tennis, pool and all that. And I run some events there for them as well. But the guys who own and run that, they just texted me one day and was like, you ever play Padel? And I was like, no, but why? And they were like, we need an extra player tomorrow. I was like, I'll fucking be there. And I went and played with them. And then my cousin, who we're not as close anymore because we've grown up and stuff, but we were like inseparable as kids because he's only 6 months older than me. So we're like real close age and whatever. He texted me and he was like, did I see on your Instagram story you were playing Padel? I was like, yeah, I've had a game. And he was like, come play with us. We play as well. So there's 2 separate groups. And then because of those, like the other lads that I'm mates with, like the podcast boys are like, I'd be up for a little game of that. I think
there we go. This is how it starts, bro.
Yeah.
And it becomes an obsession. I'm telling you, it's like everywhere it's sprouted up, it becomes the dominant sport. And I just want everybody to get into it.
Do people know you out there like as a paddle ambassador?
Probably more just from stand up. No, that's not true. Anybody that's in the paddle space knows.
That's far.
Because there just aren't that many people with a following that are playing paddle. Like every once in a while the F1 guys play or like a soccer guy plays. And then it's this big deal in the paddle world. But you don't feel like they're playing obsessively. Like I take lessons in this shit. And the fact that people think it's pickleball is so embarrassing. Because imagine going, I have to go to my pickleball lesson. That's what people think when I say it on a podcast. But
I've got my dementia screening and my denture fitting and then my pickleball lesson.
Bro, he was taking us so seriously the day before. We're in here, we're working on stuff, and we brought a bunch of cookies. We're all eating cookies. And he was like, nah, I can't. I got this paddle tournament. I didn't even realize he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
He didn't eat cookies to watch paddle. Like, that's how serious he takes it.
Can't be fat watching paddle. I'm going to feel bad enough as it is.
So good.
He's trying to coach from the sideline.
This is adorable.
Not even
this is
paying
adorable.
attention to him at all.
I'm speaking like broken Spanish. I'm just yelling now. I'm like heckling them a little bit. Like, I'm asking the guys on the sidelines like what city they're from in Spain and shit. And I'm just like making up things about their city. I'm like, what's the strip club in Malaga? What's the strip club in Malaga? Do it for the puti club. Bro, there's a video Vala has. I should get the video where like I'm just trying to help out. And again, I'm not the coach. I'm the captain, which is just like me and Derek are some guys that are, have some notoriety or whatever. And they're like, we'll just make you guys like the captains to put some clout on the event. We're not supposed to do anything.
But there's no like famous paddle players, so they've got like the comedian who does it, and then fuck it, let's get a baseball player.
The most famous guy, right? Who's friends with the guy who owns the thing and is the ambassador. And but I take my captain role very seriously. I'm on the sidelines with them. I'm handing waters out. They're from like Argentina and Spain. Now Spain is not a third world country; it's a first world country, kind of.
This is your coach in the Ultimate Fighter.
Exactly. But so they're on the sidelines and they're still doing like third world like techniques to like deal with cramps and shit. Like they're eating bananas, like they're fucking chimpanzees on the sidelines. I'm like, can we get these guys?
Is New York?
No,
techniques, you fruit.
No, but like get him like a Gatorade pouch or something. Like I never seen a marathon guy run and grab a fucking bushel of bananas and then scarf them during the match. A full banana during a match is insane.
No, tennis players do that all the time.
During the match?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I had no clue. I thought they didn't know about the Gatorade pouches. You don't have those little energy pouches that you can like Go-Gurt, but Gatorade or something. So I'm like, get him some first world shit. The guys on the side are like, dame un plátano. I'm like, you want me to go to the grocery store? I have some fucking clue. I'm gonna get a banana right now. But yeah, I'm like trying to hand them waters. They're just ignoring me. I'm like, okay.
Look, I never saw him someplace where it's like he's one of the most famous people there, and no one gave a fuck about him on the sideline. It was all about the fucking paddle and the players. Like that
the player didn't give a flying fuck. It wasn't until I started making fun of them that they started like.
Oh, they started loosening up.
Like because I also think there's like a language barrier. They're not really sure who I am. One guy was calling me Derek, and I was like, that's the other captain. Like these guys have no clue, what's going on. And then when I would start teasing them a little bit, I think they were like, oh, okay, he's not He doesn't really think he's the coach, you know.
In Padel, remind me, because I have not played that many games yet. So like, how's the scoring work?
So it's just like tennis, like 15, 30,
Okay.
what is it, 40, and then game.
How many games do you think you'd have to play against like the guy who won
Yeah.
to win one game?
No, there would, it doesn't matter.
No, he would wear out. He would wear out. He would like give up.
Yeah, but so would he.
No. 'Cause he
honestly
would want to win so bad.
This is how I honestly believe this to my core. Two of us could play against one of them, and then he would still win.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Two of us against one, and we could hit at any part of the court we want, and they would still win, and we wouldn't get a game out. As long as when we served, we would have to serve into the same spot every single time. Like they're just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like it just
I didn't
just-
realize the
it's-
difference. It was that far, but
Yeah.
it's far.
No, it's just crazy.
It's far.
It just everything looks so easy. It's impressive.
Yeah.
But I really hope people go check it out and play. It's amazing. It'll drive your wife crazy. My wife hates it. She hates how much I love it.
Because you're having fun.
I'm having so much. And it's interesting because when she has fun doing things that don't involve me, I'm like really happy for her.
Because you got a break.
Because I get to play paddle. All roads lead to battle. But when I go to play paddle, she's furious about that for some reason. And she's like, I'll play with you. And I'm like, no, you won't.
Yeah, man.
I'll beat you.
Yeah. It's crazy how they're built like that, right?
Yeah.
You're retarded. So you have a career that keeps you out every weekend and at night, and now you picked a sport that you're playing all the time during the day that you have to be away for like 2 or 3 hours at a time. So now you're just never home.
When's he supposed to play paddle if he's going to be working overnight?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But that's,
can't pick a
that's why
nighttime
she
hobby.
hates it.
You
No,
can't
no,
pick
no.
a nighttime
But
hobby.
here's what I
That's
say.
why she hates
when
it.
I'm playing paddle in the morning, I'm not out partying at night. So it's actually the best thing for her. Also, if I play golf, that's like 4, 5, 6 hours. I picked a sport that's only like 2 or 3. You're welcome.
I play golf as well.
See?
I do both. And it's great.
And he has
So-
domestic disputes a lot. You know?
Yeah. He's on his fifth relationship in 5 years right now.
Yeah, but this is the good one. It's going to win.
You described your Sunday, and I was like, how is she okay with this? She's like, 9 o'clock, pints with the boys, 3 hours of golf. Then we go watch the football game. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, does she not go, hey, wait, you can't do this?
We did Christmas Day together. So
Okay.
the next day it's like, go away.
Oh, wow. She has like an enough?
It's just fine. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Also, she's probably working. She works in hospitality. She works in
I need to get my wife a job. That's the thing.
Oh, wait, he said probably working. He had no idea what the fuck she was doing.
She does.
She's got a gift basket or some shit. Who knows? Derek Jeter, I love this guy. That's great, honey. That's how much he loves going to the pub. He didn't even finish the golf match. I don't know if you remember the story. He's like, we played half. We said, fuck it. Like, golfing is about drinking. You're like, let's just stop the golf part.
We were drinking on the course as well. We took tins with us.
You're allowed to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's a part of it.
Is golfing, like, I know you're super rich now that you're a successful big time comedian, but golf in America is like a rich person sport.
It is.
Is it middle class as well?
It's sort of seen as that in the UK, but like I played golf when I was a teenager, and when like we had fucking nothing.
So you can be middle class, you can be normal and play golf.
Yeah, totally.
In America, that's not the case.
Like a set of golf clubs for like a beginner's set that aren't very good will set you back like, I don't know, £300.
Wow.
Well, like second hand, you could probably get it for 100. So like you could start like with very little money, and then to get onto like a publicly owned course, you're paying like £20 to play a game.
Oh, that's not bad.
Like a really good course will cost you hundreds, and really good golf clubs will cost you thousands.
That's the thing. In America, it's like $250,000 to join a golf club. It's a country club.
It's nowhere near that.
Or $1 million sometimes to join.
Yeah, it's nowhere near that.
Yeah, but maybe in Florida.
That's also,
New York
around the
thing.
city, it's like a lot
This
harder.
is a different, like in Florida, I grew up playing golf, like very middle class golf.
Got it. It's where there's more land, you have more golf
public courses are
courses, and then
same,
it's a little bit more
I have
accessible.
like middle class friends that live on golf courses. Yeah, they live like very regular lives, and they're on like the 18th and like some
Dude,
random
I
spot.
want to play that course.
Oh yeah, that's what my brother does every week. He plays in Castleberry.
Have you played before?
Yeah, I have them horrible, but I love the idea that there's like projects surrounding the golf
Yes.
course.
Yes, that's what it was. There was one course where it was just a links course, so it was just like 9 holes or whatever.
Yeah.
and it was just in the hood. And then you would just get random people going to play.
That's fine.
And they wouldn't really take care of the greens. It was just all overgrown and shit.
So a lot of the publicly owned courses in like Liverpool are a bit shit, and then there's like the middle ones. The middle ones are normally the ones that I'll play, and they're good. But I've played like good courses a handful of times, and like what these like professionals are playing on. Like I seen a video the other week, and it was like, do you think you could win the US Open if you started on the green?
That's a great what's it called? Okay.
And the answer's no.
Not even close. Do you know what he's asking right there? What he's saying?
but like the green is close to the hole, right?
The green is the patch with the shortest
the green's
grass.
probably
So you
let's-
couldn't win?
The green could be between the size of this room and 4 times the size of this room, depending on the hole.
Oh, okay.
And
You
If it
start
was that
on
big.
every green. That would be a great fucking matchup. You get the best golfer in the world, and then you get me. You actually play golf. But me and Al, guys who don't play golf, and we start on the green, and they start at the tee. And we play 18.
they beat you by
Yeah.
between 30 and 50 shots.
It's like putting
and I might be being really nice as well.
But we play mini golf, though.
Exactly.
We might have an advantage.
I'm good at that putt shit.
Yeah.
Putt shit.
Until you can read a green. So like the best course I've ever played on was about 6 months ago with a friend of mine called Thomas. It's called the Shire. It's about an hour outside of London. And there's a practice green at the start of the course for you to just like practice putting before you tee off. And I dropped the golf ball from just a height, and it just went its own way and then rolled off the green. And if you tap it, it will go. But these pro golfers can look at a green and see if they drop the ball here, exactly where it's going to end up. And that's what you're playing against. And you just be looking at a green going, right, I'm here, the hole's there, I'll hit it that way. But what you actually need to do is hit it over there so that it does that. And
I
they
could
know
figure
how
that
to
out.
do that. So you'd go that way, and then you'd be off the green.
No, I'd figure that out.
It's not even,
I'd figure that out.
This doesn't sound
We gotta
hard
set
at
this
all.
up.
yeah.
It doesn't
You
sound
also
hard at all.
tour greens would be even harder. If you're playing against actual tour players, they're playing on greens that are faster than what you played.
Yeah.
It's like ice.
Yo,
Which
I
is
was
good
talking.
grass.
I was talking to one of these guys that
played on
it's because a lot of guys that play tennis are now like kind of playing paddle. And there's this one guy, Willie Kanyas was his name. He beat Federer like 3 times. He was like I think number 8 of the world at one point in time. And he was saying like how the game of tennis changed. I had no clue that they were changing the greens. Like they were making it slower, making it faster, and they're changing the game to make it more friendly for TV, essentially. Changing like the density of the ball. They
Made it green.
they changed the color, but they're also changing like the size of it.
Oh, really?
So I think what happened
didn't hear
was
this.
there was a time like, have you ever seen that picture of the of what the grass tennis courts called? I guess just grass.
Lawn?
Yeah, lawn. So what the lawn tennis courts and how they've changed over the years, like which patches are the most used up. So back in the day when the game was at the net, you would see it all chopped up. And now the game is almost never at the net. They're both behind the line and they're both ripping it. And it's because they've changed the game to make it more exciting, to extend the volleys. When we were growing up, the guys, it would just be a hard serve because the greens were so fast. And then maybe 1 or 2 shots, point would end.
Yeah.
So they changed the game to make it more enjoyable for TV. I don't think that this is a coincidence at all, outside of the Williams sisters being like superstars. The women's game picks up at the same time that the men's game is just serve and then done.
Oh, interesting.
Because the women don't have the power.
Yeah.
So the rallies are much longer and the game is more interesting.
Watching women is
and
better than watching the men.
It's so much better. And like the women technically get paid more.
Wait, what do you? Oh, because they play less.
Yeah, so the
this is
prize money
interesting.
for men's and women's Wimbledon is the same, but men is best of 7 sets and women is best of 5.
So look at the greens.
Well, that's right.
Or it might be 3 and 5.
Look how much of the area where you would volley has eroded. And this is in 2024. There's almost nothing. Same exact course. And everybody's just behind the line.
That's interesting.
They do this with a lot of sports. Like baseball, they eliminated the shift. You used to have like the dead ball era of basketball in the early 2000s when they
What was
allowed,
that?
That was when they allowed they basically like allowed defenses to be different with like hand checking and things to stop Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
They had like the hack a Shaq rule that changed. Like this happens to
Yeah.
make the sport better.
And it is
Baseball-
cork bats and stuff. Like that was the whole thing.
well, that was like you're not supposed to do it, but like baseball's changed a lot to make it
But you
better.
should.
Yeah, of
because then
course.
the guys end up making more money and, you know. that's the thing about these sports like tennis is like we know about the top 20 guys that are making all this money. The other like 400, 500 are not making all this money. They're like pros at the local country clubs or whatever. So you want the prize money to go up. But you should manipulate the game.
Yeah. I'd be kind of pissed though, right? Like if you get great at a game and then they change it, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I asked him about that, and he goes, because I think there was a moment where his skill set worked for what was happening. And I think he could really, I think he was what's called like a pusher, where basically you could defend. You just get to every single ball, you just exhaust them. You just get to every single ball, you exhaust them. And then the game changed. It might have moved outside of his skill set, but he's like, you got to be able to adapt. Like, that's the nature of this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be great at any sport, you can't be great at that
Just
tiny
one
bit of
thing.
the sport.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, you've sort of made it harder for me to use that. It's like, well, then you weren't a tennis player, you were that guy.
Yeah.
You've got to be good at the whole, you got to be able to get around the whole thing.
yeah.
It's like with football, like the game changes every sort of like 5 to 15 years. Like a new coach comes in and is like,
What
right,
about
well,
it? They cry a little less.
You're playing like that. We'll play like this. Like at the minute, the game's very like possession based for the top teams. Like we're going to keep the ball until you make a little mistake and the wrong player runs at us, and then we'll find that gap. But like I think that's about to change again. Like pace is not quite as important now for the best teams, because when there's a game of football and you've got like the full pitch and, a team who's bad against a really good team will just line up right in front of their own goal. So there's very little space in between the lines for them to find. So like this team's fast players don't get to utilize their pace very much because it's like,
They neutralize the pace.
where are we going to run from?
Crowd in the box, right?
So then the best teams want the best technically gifted players because they can find
Passes,
the spaces in between this rather than trying to run through it.
Yeah.
They gotta stop that crying shit.
What, when they get hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they get fake hurt.
Yeah,
They
it's
gotta
fucking
stop.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you curb that. Like, do they do like they need to do more yellows for guys that don't actually? Like,
That's what they do in
dives.
the NBA. You get a flagrant for flopping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what they need to do.
You get booked for diving in football.
Yeah.
So if
rarely though.
Yeah, but because for it to be a dive, it has to be you weren't touched and you're faking. But if they touch them at all, it's like, oh, maybe it did hurt him that much. Maybe he's just this guy.
Yeah, maybe you're a pussy. That's what
I have a couple questions, if you don't mind. I really like British comedians. I'm like a big fan of British comedians. Okay. Is there anyone new and like sort of upcoming that you're like, oh, you should check him out?
We spoke about Jamie last time we were here, the guy whose autistic brother beats him up.
So
Mr.
Catford?
Yeah, Dr. Catford. So Jamie's like well on the rise, and he's not got any stand-up available online. Okay. All of his clips are podcasts, and his idea with that is you've got to see me live or you don't get to ever see what I do. And he's very like different on stage, and he's very aggressive with the audience. It's almost clowning. In that, like, it's like there's substance to it. It's not just clowning; it's stand up as well. But like, he'll get right in audiences' faces, and there's levels to it. And he's like, I don't think that translates to video, so I'm not doing it. And he's just sold a lot of tickets on a tour.
That's dangerous.
He's doing real well. I'm not in the clubs as much at the minute.
Yeah.
Because I've been touring for a good few years, and I've took a little break since I put the special out. I'm starting again now. So I can only really tell you about... Do you know what, actually? There's a lad who's a friend of mine called Elliot Steele.
Okay.
And Elliot's good mates with a couple of US comics because he's really good mates with Daniel Sloss, who's got like a career out here as well and stuff. Elliot, I met when he was 17, and I just thought he was fine. I was like, you're fine. He's a good friend of mine, but I was like, he's fine. He's not a great comic, but he's fine. And then about 18 months ago, maybe a year ago, I was in London for some like work stuff, and I was like, I'm going to just go to the comedy club and do some spots. And I had to follow him, and I watched him, and I was like, oh, you've been working really hard. And he's just an absolute, and he's not just killing with like easy stuff. He's in like a really young liberal London comedy club, and he's really provoking them, but in a really brilliant way.
Yeah.
So that was really good for me to see that, because it was a friend of mine who, to be honest, like I was like, I just think he's okay when I met, because he was a fucking kid. Do you know what I mean? He was 17.
Yeah.
And he's now mid-20s, and he's going to be very, very, very good. Yeah. I think those two, for me, they're the first two that have come to me head.
I'm curious, the amount of times you come to US, like you're here multiple times a year, is there anything about America or Americans that still surprises you?
No, not surprises. I mean, I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on it. Like, I also feel like I see things coming and stuff. And yeah, not particularly surprising. No.
That's kind of nice. Like now you're like, oh, you're fit in. But even going to Texas, you're not like, whoa, this is not what we
No,
know.
but I have like, I feel like.
Okay, here's something that maybe you can explain that is along the same thing.
Okay.
Robbie Williams.
Chrissy D was asking me about this. Look, he's
that?
super famous.
That's a great point.
Who's Robbie Williams?
Okay, so here's Robbie Williams. You haven't even heard any of this yet?
So Robbie Williams did an iconic episode of MTV Cribs. He had a song where he was like taking off his skin and like his muscles. Do you remember the music video for that? And he's this like pop sensation from the UK that has on paper everything that you need to succeed in America. And for whatever fucking reason, he just didn't cross over.
Because
he's
he's
Big
very,
Bear.
very, very British. So there's a British.
But we like British things. We like Idris Elba. We like James Bond.
We like Ricky Gervais.
We like Ricky Gervais.
I can't tell you why. I don't know whether it's just I can't get my finger on it, but like I wouldn't expect Robbie Williams to be big here. And I know that he isn't now because of this movie that's come out. So he was
what is the movie? Okay, go. Break down Robbie Williams, then we'll get to the movie.
He's a pop star. He was in a boy band called Take That. He was seen as like the entertainer, like the one a lot of women fancy because he was like the naughty boy of the group. He wasn't the talented one of the group. The talented one was the lead singer who wrote all the songs called Gary Barlow. And then when Take That sort of, you know, had that boy band thing where one of them's going to go and do their own thing and they're going to break up and whatever, Robbie Williams became like the guy. He was the solo star. Sony gave him like 80 million for like 3 albums, and that was like back in the 90s or the early 90s, so it was a big fucking deal. So like he was like the guy. Big tours and very famous, and like you could stop anybody on the streets of the UK and be like, do you know who Robbie Williams is? And they'd say, yeah. Like he's that level of famous. He hasn't like been massively in the public eye for a few years because he got 80 million for 3 albums, so he's gone and had to sit down. But there's a movie that's come out this year, and it's called Better Man or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's his sort of life and career story, but for no apparent reason, he is a monkey in it. Nobody else is. 2 hours, your ass is mine!
No
To be honest,
way.
I don't wanna rock, so let's take it from the top.
DJ.
Cause you're
No
making me
way.
feel so... So you know the song?
Of course, I know Robbie Williams.
I've never heard that. But this is no way. Why?
Bro, the entire film is told from the perspective that he's a chimp.
And then is anybody acknowledging the fact that he's a...
No, it's never brought up once.
No one else is a chimp.
This
I know
is
that's-
either genius or fucking
Well, we're talking about it. We're talking about it.
So the movie bombed here.
Oh, it came out already.
So Universal bought the rights to it in America, and I mean, these numbers will not be accurate, but it's essentially like they paid 100 million for the rights and they got like 5 million back.
Oof.
Oh, I thought it made like $200. Like I thought it was like, and I'm not even being facetious. I thought it was like less than $1,000 opening weekend. But it seems like that's part of the marketing.
But did it do well over there?
It's done fine. I mean, cinema's not doing very well anyway. Like the big movies that like are being pushed, are not doing, like, I know a few people who've seen it and being like, it's what you think it is.
Is the movie good? Like, is the story
I
good?
haven't fucking seen it. It's Robbie Williams' life story and he's a fucking monkey in it.
The opening weekend was $18,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 0.9% of its total gross. Yeah, it's
Damn, that
now,
sucked.
It now pulled in 1.2 million, I think.
They took a risk. You know? Like,
It's such a, like-
sometimes you take a risk, man.
But you know what it is? You know, like when, I imagine you've had meetings like this where like you meet with TV people, and now because everything's like, no one's watching movies and stuff, Robbie Williams has gone in and gone, hey, I'm ready to tell my life story. And they're like, yeah, Robbie, it's just not new. It's not interesting. And he's like, what if I'm a monkey? And they're like, fucking, we need something interesting. Make me a fucking monkey then.
And the idea is like, oh, I'm less evolved than other people. Like I'm more primitive or something.
I think the idea of it is he's just like, you know, the whole old adage of like, oh, you're just like a dancing monkey. Like you're not like, you're You're just like, you're not a person. You're just a fucking go and do the thing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it is.
And does he become a real boy at the end?
I don't think so. I think he's just a monkey
He
the
gets kissed
entire
by
time.
Jimmy Seville, and then he becomes a real boy. It's beautiful, actually, at the end.
Fucking hell.
Wild movie, dude.
Fucking hell. Okay, so when are you back in town, Adam? I know you leave tomorrow.
I think I'll probably come back into town in like April or May and do some more spots and some...
Spots or shows? Have you toured here, actually?
I haven't toured here yet. So,
do you have any interest in doing like traditional club weekends and like doing the American comic thing?
Probably not.
Okay.
What I would like to do out here is I really like the relationship I have with the US right now, in that I've done the sort of guest spots and the trials at the clubs, and when I'm coming out, they'll throw me up, and that's nice. And then because of people like you and other guys who've had me on the podcast and stuff, I'm slowly sort of... Like I did like Tommy Pope and Chris's podcast, and there's comments on it going, I've seen this guy on a few things. Yeah, and it was funny. They're really good guys.
Shout out both of them, man. They're so awesome.
I like that, and eventually I'd like to tour out here, in that I can come out and do a few shows in a few cities. But also, I just really love, I love being in the States generally. I love Nashville, big country music guys, you know. I love Nashville. But I love New York. I just love being here.
The best. And
like being here for like a week, jumping up and doing some spots, writing in the day, going, like I've got my places now where I go for pizza and for a sandwich and for a bit of coffee. Like I know what I like and where it is. I feel like I've got a good, and there's so much more of this city I obviously haven't seen. Sure. But like I can come to New York and not even get maps out on my phone and know where I'm going and know when I'm going to be places and stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's a grid system.
I really like it.
The British conversion is tough, though. I get it. It's very hard. It's the whole thing.
What's one street in pounds? No, I think you should spend some more time here, man. I think it'd be cool. I also think it'd just be a fun experience to do like a random improv or funny bone.
Yeah.
You know, like just do a weekend of 5 shows, maybe while you're building an hour, and just experience that here.
I would definitely like to do that at some point, yeah. I think
it's like in the same way that like American comedians think about doing the Edinburgh Festival.
Yeah,
like, this is like a very traditional British thing. I like to take my show there, but to me, when I think of like American comedy, I don't think of it in the big arenas or even theaters. I think of it like a fucking mall comedy club.
Yeah.
And you're doing 5 shows, and you're at a shitty hotel.
Yeah.
And you're spending your days like looking for a diner to go eat. And it's
you're really selling this.
It's like it's I don't know. It creates some awesome shit. It's you get to see real America too. I
truly believe that, and I do want to see a lot more of the States. I really, really do. So yeah, maybe that might be sort of something I do in the next sort of few years. Definitely,
yeah, that'll be fun. Well, listen, we'll always be here. We'll be supporting. Thank you so much for coming on, man. It's Adam Rowe, everybody. Go check out the new special and all the other specials.